What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm the Celtic Warrior, Seamus.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
Guys, welcome. Grab a drink, grab a seat. Let's get pissed. We have Thursday Night Chaser for our Wednesday night wrestling, because nothing says I need a drink like wrestling on Wednesday nights.
Oh, yeah.
I am Marsh. You can find me at Ref Marsh. We do have special guest today, Grimreaper. Go ahead and say hi.
Hello.
And we do have back on resident Amanda Jane.
Hi.
There you are. For a second, I thought I heard you say something with without a mic, and I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna have to redo the whole thing. But don't worry, it's okay. It's only episode 1. Every show is our first show because we can't get it right. That is our pledge and our oath to you.
So since you're wearing a hat on the first show, that means the next show you have to wear a hat, whenever that is.
Well, every show's the first show.
Ah,
So everything we see is never before seen.
indeed.
Yeah, for the first time ever, we can say every show. I think that's how that works. It works for WWE when they go, for the first time ever, Kayla will interview Sami Zayn. You're like, well, it's just because she's new. Either way, guys, I'm happy to have you here to have a drink with me. I'm happy for anybody who's listening, anybody who's hanging out. If you are, go ahead, give us that like, subscribe, do all those things, rates, reviews, the things that we like. And most importantly, have a drink with us. I am having, what's in my glass is going to be Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey today. They are our current sponsor, not sponsor, because they don't sponsor me and I have to pay for this myself like a fool. But it's so delicious that I keep having it. Unless they refuse to sponsor us, and then it won't be delicious anymore. It'll be disgusting all of a sudden. Amanda, what are you drinking? What's in your glass?
Well, of course, we all know that our sponsored, not sponsored drink today is from Sonic, of course. Because
It's got to be Sonic.
It feels like winter and tastes like summer. And actually, it's kind of wintry tasting because this cherry one actually has a sponsored, not sponsor. So shout out, thank you, to our friends at Stoli, because I have vanilla Stoli with my cherry. So happy holidays to me. So
That's
I
awesome.
almost said Das Vidania, but Das Vidania is goodbye. I don't know what thank you is. So thank you.
Thank you in what? In Russian?
Russian. Yeah, no, I know Das Vidania, but that's goodbye. But
Whoa.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think there is a hello for Russian.
Yeah, there
I don't think
is.
they're that friendly.
Well, no, thank you. No, thank you. Because if you're saying hello, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's
I think it's a punch to the neck.
Здравствуйте. It's Здравствуйте. Don't mind. Going back to my hockey days, and when you're trying to meet.
Are you
hockey
sure it's not
players,
just the claw? I feel like that for hello, they just do the Ivan Kovalov claw to the face, and that's how they just say hello.
They might.
That's what
might,
wrestling's
but,
taught me.
Yeah, but like Russian hockey players, a lot of them don't have teeth or whatnot. Well, actually, no. A lot of them have teeth.
All right,
I'm
you got a
mistaken.
few here and there. Grim,
Yeah.
what are you
Or they-
drinking? What's in your glass?
Or they have teeth like Thatcher. That could be
Yeah.
something there too. Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Actually, you know what? I'm playing the role of Zero today. I got a nice little Coke Zero going on right now. Taking it light tonight.
You had Coke Zero?
Yes, Coke Zero. Usually I put something in it, but tonight just gonna coast along.
You don't even. There's not even like sugar in there, right?
Yes. There's no
You're
sugar.
having the water of Coca-Cola?
I am.
All
I
right.
thought there was sugar in it.
It says 0 sugar, but when someone says there's 0 in there, there's really maybe like a 0.5% in there. They could
Maybe.
try to
Or
get away
it's
with
like
that
zero
stuff, but-
sugar, but it definitely has sweetener. It's just not sugar.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, wait a
Yeah,
second.
right.
Yeah.
Some kind
Or
of-
it's-
so- Yeah.
Loaded with high fructose corn syrup, because that's really what's the addictor in soda.
Yes.
Yes.
It's gotta be. Well,
Gotta be.
as always, it's not about what you're drinking, it's about who you're drinking with. And today I'm drinking with you guys, and you're drinking with us. Let's get into it. Let's start talking about it, unless there's anything on the top of the show that you guys wanted to make sure we touched ground on that we had not yet before we get into NXT.
No.
No, nothing. I don't have anything. A lot of times I like to hit up the news at the top, and I don't remember seeing anything that was newsworthy that we're not going to be talking about within these shows anyways. So let's get into it. We got NXT. Oh, man.
NXT.
Holy shit. It didn't start with this. Why is this thing? God damn it, guys. I did not make notes this week. Here's the deal. It's only the first show. I was a little lax on it. There was a lot of stuff going on around the house, so it's a little bit messier than I think I would have liked. It started with that match? Mm-hmm. Then why is the picture here of the fucking... Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. So the first match was Leon Ruff and Kushida. Oh my god, I just pushed a button and everything went away. God. Don't worry, guys, it's the first show. Leon Ruff, Kushida against The Ways. Oh, God. What do you think about that? Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory calling themselves The Way. Oh, also Candice and Indy Hartwell are part of this as well. What do you think about a faction called The Way?
All right, Amanda.
I don't know that name. I don't know. But someone just really just in creative, just like Johnny been here a long time. I don't know.
Here's my problem with it. I mean, is that it's so clearly a ripoff of Mandalorian. And we just got off the heels of AEW taking Winter is Coming for Sting. True. And I shat on AEW for just taking Game of Thrones things like it's their own. But apparently they asked. I mean, to me, it's not a permissions thing. I'm not concerned about a permission to use the thing. It's like the fucking point of it. It makes it all less than, to me, is my thing. If it wasn't kind of goofy enough that we have to deal with from time to time. I mean, Austin Theory doing his finisher and screaming, "This is the way," and then does his finish.
That was.
But his finisher is awesome. It's a single arm hook, spinning face buster, like pumping out a spinning face buster, whatever. Awesome finisher. But I'm like, The Way. But for me though, I like their stable.
Yes.
I like the stable. Johnny Gargano is very, he is that veteran of NXT. He should be leading the way for newer superstars. Austin Theory, the reintroduction of Austin Theory at this point, the slapstick comedy over the past couple weeks, oh wait, that's not what we're supposed to say, and then they're like trying to like hush him off like he's a goofball or something. Yeah. I mean, they're trying to make him a little disarming, but in the ring he is pretty good. But yeah, they're kind of making him half and half right now. I don't know. We'll see about Austin Theory, but the fact that they're all a stable. I mean, you have Candice helping out Indy, getting her involved in the story, like kind of bringing her along, and then Gargano bringing along Austin Theory. Help them develop over 2021, get them up in the main event players and all of that. I'm down for the stable itself. The Way is the name is okay, but I'm good with having them as a stable.
Yeah, I feel that them as a group, I think is all right. I think there's a lot you can do with it. You can go a lot of places with it. I think all four people are tremendous in their own way. I don't find anything Gargano or Austin Theory have said to be funny. I have found Candice LeRae to be funny in her timing, which I don't know what that means, but I have laughed at a few things she said, and every time Johnny says anything that is clearly a joke, I've never found it remotely funny. But at the same time, here's the thing I get, right? So I love getting worked. I like when I realize I'm really upset at a heel after a while and be like, no, I fucking hate that guy. And you go, oh, wait a second. I got worked. But is that their like fallback though on heels now? Is that just like, hey, we're either going to be funny or you're going to find them funny and think it's funny that they're saying this, or you're really not going to find them funny and not like them, and it's a win-win because they're heels and you're not supposed to like them. So if you think they're a funny heel, then that's cool for those groups, and if you just hate them anyways, then yay, because it's a heel. But that feels like a weak fallback, doesn't it? Like a weird safety net? Or am I being too harsh? Is Johnny a comedic genius and I haven't picked that up yet?
No, Johnny's not. He's pretty dry.
You have to look at, though, like, you know, you call about the chicken heel, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, you have those. You also have, so you'll have heels like a Brock Lesnar or a, you know, just like, you know, back when the Big Show first started, or like when Kane first started, like the menacing heel, the brute when Braun Strowman came in with the Wyatt family, like just like the Hulk, just destroy everybody, buzzsaw everyone, right? And then you want that from one spectrum all the way to the other side, where you have the, like I said, the chicken heel, like that Johnny is being portrayed as over the last, you know, 3-4 months.
But he's not.
You know, kind of like, not say cheating to win, but he needs the ghost faces to help him and all of this stuff. So you're right, Marsh, where we're getting two polarizing versions of a heel. We're not really getting that hybrid.
Yeah, I would say he's less of a chicken heel and more of a conniving heel, if we're going to go that way. Because he is willing to cheat to win, but he never runs away, and he's constantly trying to get in matches, and he's just got a big ego on himself. But there's, you know, that back of his mind corner that he knows that he might lose this one, so he brings in the hired help kind of a deal. I don't know. I just don't find him funny, and I feel that maybe I'm starting to feel that way about a lot more characters than others. And I wonder if that's just part of their catch-all. Look, go out there and be as funny as you want to be, because if they find you funny, that's a win because someone's laughing and entertained. If they don't find you funny, then we can just say you're a heel and then it still works. Just seems like a weird safety net to have. But I do boo Johnny Gargano, so I might be getting worked.
It could be part of the mechanism. Yeah, it could be his mechanism of, well, what else can we do with Johnny? You know, and I mean, that's the only thing. It's like, okay, let's try something until it, like, if it sticks to the wall, great. If it doesn't, we'll just try something else. I mean, that's kind of it. Yeah, but he's a dry. He just looks like a dry person when you look at him. So.
And he's a good performer as far as like in ring goes and all that. I mean, his matches aren't for me most of the time, which is also fine. It really depends on who he's in there with for me to catch on. I don't just love every match he's ever in, but I don't think it's because he's bad or anything. They just don't click with me the same way. And I just wonder if my dislike of his comedy, if you think it's intentional, or if you find it funny, and I'm just giving him a pass because he's a heel. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's my catch-all for heels. All right, I don't find him funny, but he's a heel, so I'll take it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ruff looks amazing every time because he gets beat up better than almost anybody.
Mm-hmm.
His sound is so good. His facial expressions and everything.
I like him being paired with Kushida.
Yes.
Actually, to be honest, because that brings his game up to another level as well. So I was really impressed with that, because honestly, like, I'm like, oh, I think that's a better person in there than, Damian Priest, because like, what's Damian Priest really gonna do?
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do with Priest next. Do you think he stays in NXT, or do you think he pops up somewhere on a different roster soon?
He's the return match for New Year's Evil for Karrion Kross, because he got.
Oh, he is.
Well, because remember he got lame bashed by him last week, and
yeah.
That's true, and that's
once I think that's done, maybe he's gonna transition, which is fine, because
then what? Because then he just goes back to Johnny Gargano otherwise, and I don't see that being a thing.
No. Yeah, he's got to move up to do whatever. And
yeah, he's at least got to get in the title picture, if not on a different roster. I feel like he's just so good.
Yeah. I don't think he's that good, but.
Yeah. But regarding the tag team match, though, overall standard tag team match, just the back and forth and everything. Now, all right. So we're going to go kind of on a sidebar here. I mean, like lately I've noticed in the production when we're coming back from commercial break, or we're coming back from, or we're starting up, or even today when we started up the show for when NXT started up, Leon Ruff already in the ring. He gets the name tag. Kushida's in the middle of his entrance on the turnbuckle, and then the Way gets an entrance. For me, just before, yes, I'm invested in the storyline. I love the matches. I like the story. Like, I'm with it. But right in the beginning, I'm like, oh, Ruff's taking the pinfall. He has no entrance. Like, I kind of lose that for 1 second. Because if you notice, like, it kind of like reminds me of when the enhancement talent would come in for NXT, when Baron Corbin won like 57 matches in a row. The person was already in the ring, and he would come out and then end of days in 3 seconds and be done. So for me with NXT, whenever someone doesn't technically have an entrance, I feel like they're the one that's going to lose.
Yeah,
Like,
not getting an entrance is always
Yeah.
a bad sign.
Yeah. They're
Every
doing that
time you
on
see,
Marsh.
I think that's true of almost every company too, where someone gets an entrance and as they pan out, you go, someone's in the ring already? You go, oof, this is not good for them.
Yeah.
That
Makes
is
me
not
feel
how you
bad for
present a
Ruff.
star.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad for Ruff, sympathetic babyface. He takes the hit at the end and all of that. But just overall, I'm like, okay. But then, yes, we'll see where the story goes. But I just feel it already in the match. There's no entrance. So I'm like, okay, well, he's eating it tonight.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think that Leon Ruff's plans are super lengthy. I think that he was used to highlight a story and highlight him and get beloved by the fans, but I do feel in my gut that we're going to probably be seeing less and less of him on TV for a bit before he comes back for another cool spot kind of a deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think he's going to remain beloved, but I don't see him just staying in the North American title picture for the next, year and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because even when you think about who's coming back, like Bronson Reed's coming back, and then sometimes you sit there like, well, there's so many other people. Yeah, a bunch of people that you're just like, where did they go? Where, like, I know they're not injured, but what's happening with some of these people? Which when we talk about the Ciampa match, that's another one where I have some.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into Ciampa and Rust. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you, Grim?
Oh yeah,
dude, this match I loved. So Tyler Rust, he got an entrance though, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He got an entrance.
He did.
He definitely got an entrance. You're goddamn right, he did.
That's
my boy. My boy getting an entrance. He looked to me kind of like if you were doing Create a Wrestler and you had the James Ellsworth default character, but you're trying to make it look like it was Drew McIntyre. So you got kind of a mix of them. That's kind of what he looked like.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't hate it. Hate it, but that's where he was to me. I was having a hard time. But Tommaso comes out. I love that he came out. He does his thing. He goes and grabs a chair. He goes and puts it on the end of the ramp. Then he pulls out a Thatcher shirt, lays it on the chair, and be like, well, if he's not going to watch it in person, he'll watch it in spirit, surely.
Surely.
I thought that was great.
Yeah,
so good.
That was good.
Oh, good.
That was good. I like I like how, they kind of did the argument, the distraction, and then Russ worked on the arm more than half the match, ring psychology stuff. That's always good for me. Mm-hmm. Just the back and forth, a few stiff shots here or there. You saw the red welts on the chest of Russ. So it was a hard-hitting match. I'm excited to see, though, what Ciampa and Thatcher's match is going to be at New Year's Evil. Is it going to be a submission match? Is it going to be, 30-minute ultimate or whatever, 30-minute ultimate submission, or just 2 out of 3 falls or something? There has to be some kind of stipulation attached to it this time, because I like how they're watching each other's matches. I just want it to build to something.
Okay, so hear me out. We've just seen a blindfold match. We just saw a strap match. We've been seeing them bring back things like Halloween Havoc and War Games. There's a lot of super old school AWA, WCW kind of vibes in the way that they're presenting a lot of gimmick matches right now. I feel like there's another one I'm missing. I know they even made reference to the Coal Miner's Glove match at Halloween Havoc, but it didn't happen for what it was.
Yeah.
What if we get to a Cage I Quit match a la Tully and Magnum TA?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I put
gotcha.
Thatcher and Ciampa in that though, but I
Of course
can
you
see
put them
that.
in there.
Well,
And you get
I don't
Thatcher to
know.
actually get Ciampa to scream "I quit" on a mic. They do it old school style with a mic in his
Oh
mouth.
well.
You know, I don't. I think maybe I'm with you on the Cage idea because you had Thatcher versus Riddle in the Lions Den or the Cage match.
Yeah.
Essentially, that was unreal, and then that
Pit was
was
crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome. So something in that realm, maybe maybe that will be Thatcher's match. Like
They could bring back the Pit.
Right.
Yeah.
I say Pit, but make it an I Quit match. I Pit match.
I pay man.
I like that.
Yeah. The Pit or Quitter, they'll call it.
Yeah. I know they don't have the time for it, but my heart of hearts would love to have a freaking Iron Man with those two, but no time. But that would be amazing. But
yeah, it's been a long time since they've done an honest 60-man Iron Man because they've done the 45-minute and the half an hours.
yeah, because those are two that's just gold right there. The two of them, that's just amazing gold. So I mean,
and how good was Tyler Rust in this? I mean, we were talking about Ciampa and Thatcher because of how incredible they've been. But Rust really showed up at this. I'm excited to see him come back.
This was a showcase match for Rust. Big time.
Yes. And it was a utility to make Thatcher look even better in another weird sense, right? So Thatcher was training Rust for this match. And who's Rust? We've never seen or heard from him. All we know, he's been getting trained by Thatcher. And he took Ciampa. He was not an easy task for Ciampa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if he can train someone to be that good, and we already know he's good, the only thing I thought that annoyed me, it was a thing that the refs did during the pull. It wasn't quite a pull apart, but where they were trying to hold Thatcher back. They were on the sides of him with their arms draped slightly in front of him. And I was like, no! And I'm screaming, and I'm all like, lower your gravity, put your shoulder in his fucking stomach, and hold him back. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he was being pushed back and being taunted and had a sweaty shirt thrown into his face, and he's trying to get to Ciampa, and the refs are all like, no, don't do that. And he, like, can't move past them. They needed to, like, bring themselves down and put their shoulder up into his stomach and hold him back with their feet dug in the ground. Like, it is almost impossible, but we've got him, But they did not look like they were struggling and holding him back, and that upset me.
Wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Rust in this last group that just started at the Performance Center?
I don't maybe. It sounds right.
Or
Sure.
I feel like
if it is, that's also super impressive.
Yeah, well, but then again, like he also on the West Coast wrestled with Thatcher for years too. So
did he?
Yeah, as Ryan Taylor. So I mean, I've seen them before, and so it works. I mean, that's where they've had some pretty grueling things, and actually some of his stuff that he did on like Championship Wrestling from Hollywood was pretty good because he was partnered with some other, I can't even remember the guy, but he's that good, and it says something now that a lot of these guys who are just coming into the Performance Center are actually showing up. I'm shocked we haven't. I'm waiting for when we see the Rascals, because I'm like, man, you can't shelve those guys for too long. I mean,
there he is. There's Rust.
Yeah, and so it's really like I think it's phenomenal what they're doing. I mean, he's good already, but just to have him in this combo with the two of them is just amazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure probably down the line, if you look on Cage Match, I'm pretty sure probably he's had something with Ciampa a long time ago.
Oh, it wouldn't shock me after what we saw.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh
yeah, especially because I know like for a while Ciampa was doing the whole LA thing when he was doing like PWG hard, like every month he was at PWG and things like that. He was doing a lot of those indies.
What's funny is the name that he signed and they said on there, Russ Taylor. and he came out to Taylor Rust with a T.
Yeah.
Or Tyler Rust, and his name was Russ Taylor. They're like, let's just flip it, add a T in there, take out an A, make it pretty much the same thing but backwards. Sort of like Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that's actually really impressive. He got signed on December 3rd, and here he is 2 weeks later going toe-to-toe with Thatcher or not Thatcher, with Ciampa, and looking crisp.
Yeah, it felt like he was the next week. He was already on TV. I mean, that's what it felt
awesome.
like. Whoa, and in a program, like a good program, not like, something that's kind of funky. I mean, a really good, solid program. So
yeah, and in a fantastic match.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. That's really cool.
That's awesome.
I think that was probably, I would say, like, if I had only just watched, that and just kind of skimmed through things, I would have said, oh, that was like probably the best match of the night. But no, this was actually a really solid night, I think.
Yes. So I think my only contention with the show on whole was the order of things. I think I would have shuffled it up a little bit different, but you don't know till you know. But every match on the card sounded good. You say what?
Leon should have had an entrance. God damn it.
Leon should have had an entrance. He could have had an entrance.
He had.
He should have had an entrance. God damn it. Come on.
Let's see. So we did have. So right after this was like barely an hour in. We get, unless there was anything else on that one you guys want to talk about?
Just real quick though, before we get into the match of the night, essentially, the couple of things here. I like NXT always does this great, the video packages and the interviews backstage. Give us the investment into the characters. Give us that quick little tidbits, little recaps, right? So first off, you have Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley.
That video was great.
That was great. Yeah.
Right. To their past in NXT UK, how Toni beat Ripley for the championship. Has it been a year and a half at this point? But just like calling back into their history, like Toni's like, well, I've handled Ripley before, I could do it again. So very good. Again, just the respective history, like we've talked about before. Kyle O'Reilly getting charged up backstage with Undisputed Era. Get well soon, Bobby Fish. Hopefully you're back sooner rather than later. And then Shotzi Blackheart having her backstage interview again, getting into everything, recharging her up, especially after War Games, getting her momentum back going again. And then after the Tyler and Ciampa match, you have the Grizzled Young Veterans having their package as well. Just kind of beefing them up a little bit. And then obviously a Karrion Kross TikTok return vignette as well. So just, again, the packages, the interviews, really setting the stage for the characters and keeping you invested in the story.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, I knew we were going to get Karrion Kross tonight, but after seeing that TikTok video little clip, I kind of forgot that we were definitely going to see him tonight. So then when he came out, I was like, more? Woo! It threw me off.
I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Although, all those things being awesome, playing a little bit of the old tops and bottoms like we used to, I don't know how I felt about them constantly clicking back over to Dexter Lumis quietly drawing on his iPad.
That was weird. That was a little weird. I was like, at first, I'm like, what? Okay.
And then he was fake drawing with the iPad, and that bothered me because I know he can actually draw. Like, those are actually him. Those are actually his drawings. I was like, why is he just, like, adding a quick layer in between stuff? Just let him actually draw and show him drawing. Like, he's not doing anything up there. Just let him do the thing he does. It was weird.
Yeah, that was, I didn't understand that. I was like, why is he just drawing? Why is it just kind of...
Yeah, and then he's like,
I'm like,
sort of dragging pencil.
What we don't know is that Dexter Lumis's idol is Bob Ross. So he wanted to have his moment, paint the trees and the
happy little trees and
right.
Exactly.
But I don't mind that. What I didn't like was for one, the weird sudden dramatic lighting, like he hasn't been just sitting up there the whole time. And then two,
the light was kind of weird. I'm like, okay.
Two, he wasn't actively drawing whenever they showed him.
No, he would
just show him, and he would like put his pencil down, or he would like tap his pencil to the screen of the iPad, and then it would zoom out and show it on the screen. So it's like you're wired into the main system if they're projecting what's on your iPad. And thirdly, they buried Vic Joseph. And this is my favorite commentary team in all of wrestling right now is Vic, Wade, and Beth. I think they're fantastic together.
I was going to say, big comment. Yeah, those three, I think they're right now, like I was thinking back actually with the commentary, and I was going to say, I think of everybody's who's out there now. This is like the best. Yeah. And a big part of it is, I think, like Beth has great points, great things to say. But there's just something about goddamn fucking, and I'm going to call him Stu Bennett because that's how I know him. Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett. There's just something about him on commentary. I don't know what it is. It's like fucking magic.
Yeah, he sounds wise.
He's more than wise. It's like, holy fuck. Like, man, you were really kind of a shitty wrestler now that I'm thinking about it. I like you on commentary. I mean,
yeah.
No offense, dude.
He can talk about wrestling better than a lot of people can wrestle.
Yeah.
And then even Vic Joseph comes off as such a fan, just knowing his background, but super professional. Yeah. Like, he's legit. Like, he's one of us, and he's doing that. And I love it. I'm a big fan of when he goes, no!
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like
oh no!
It's not like it's condescending or you're thinking, God, that's so out of place or things like that.
I know it just works.
Yeah, it just really works. It works.
But
for me.
In this case, so they're showing Dexter drawing or not drawing, I should say, drawing not drawing hashtag. They zoom like Vic Joseph goes, what is he doing? What is that even? And then it zooms out and it shows the screen that is pointing opposite of the commentary table. It's the whole screen. So then when Vic sees it there, he goes, oh. And you're like, dude, you couldn't see what was right in front of your face in 300 feet squares? Like, that was that won't bother me.
He's looking at a little monitor. Leave it alone.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're looking at a little monitor. They're not, they're not.
And eating his Skittles. There's one thing I know about Vic Joseph on commentary. He eats a shitload of Skittles, and I know that because when they were showing War Games, they zoomed in on the desk to show the War Games action figure, and right next to Vic Joseph was like 4 bags of Skittles empty. And I was like, fuck, that dude's eating Skittles. Yeah.
All right.
Love it. But that was my only thing. What did you think about Dexter Lumis being up there in that whole presentation, Grim?
Again, I just, it's, however the presentation is, hey, I'm used to the lighting like that. We had the Sin Cara match mood lighting at one time. So, the Kane Fire Red during his matches and everything. So just, like lighting or the ambiance is very important when you're trying to, work out your development of your character, or at least how you're trying to portray the character, or trying to, what you want to radiate from that character, right? So he's known as the tortured artist. So, he's on his own, in his own world, his own little isolation there. That's why, like you were saying, Marsh, earlier, that it's like, wait a minute, all this other stuff's going on, and he's just magically up on a podium just writing while everything else is going on. Well, that's just the essence of his character, right? So he feels like he's on his own island, he's on his own, doing his own thing, and he just, comes out whenever he wants to for a match. But just looking at, though, that's just his character as a whole, just kind of being apart from everybody until he gets involved.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I was just wondering because I felt like it was I just feel like it was a contrast to what we were seeing with all the other video packages and stuff. I felt like all that other stuff was done so well and deliberately, and then this seemed so weirdly out of place. Because I agree with you. He should be off in kind of a weird spot. However, he's right there where they're filming the stuff. So when he's, like, drawing that way, and then, like, production remembers he's there, so they change the light real quick, it just takes a minute for me to go, wait, what's going on? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But I guess he's going to be the host of New Year's Evil. I really liked Wade Barrett says, wait, how is he going to be a host if he never talks?
And that was the best. I was like, he doesn't talk. And I'm like, well, now that they come to think of it, we're probably going to get him drawing these weird things. That's going to be his communication. Maybe that's his, I don't know, get the weird lighting.
Good. And then Darby will guess what they are.
Yes. Bad.
Okay, let's get into the match. By the way, I do like Dexter Lumis. I think he's a great drawer and artist.
I'm hoping that they do that for New Year's Evil. Like he just draw like that.
Yeah.
He's drawing something, and that's how he's going to communicate and be the host. Is you get weird drawings and weird mood lighting.
Guys, number one contender, Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne. They said, we'll put this one in the middle because we got better stuff coming. I was like, what? That was your plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hell you do? What are you doing putting us in the middle? In my mind, I was thinking, there's no fucking way. But I was like, but how ballsy is that for him to be all like, don't worry, there's better coming. I'm like, what?
Or the other thought I had was, what was AEW doing in the middle?
Right. I don't know. Sting probably walked out and winked.
No, I don't. No. But I don't know. But it was like, what do we have? It's either you're going up against like what, Chris Jericho, or you're going to, you have Sting, you have all these like old farts that used to be over here. So like, what do you do? How do you take that attention away?
Okay.
I think that's one of those.
Yeah.
Right, Amanda. Like you were just saying, though, it's like the I'm gonna say the Monday Night War, the Wednesday Night War, right? Okay. Yeah. But just like the top of the hour, the 9 o'clock hour, even on Raw, the 10 o'clock hour, whatever it might be. Just there's always that, let's have the biggest match of the night. Let's get the viewers. Let's start it at 10 of, and it ends at 10 after. Like kind of just. Bring the people in to bring the audience into the match. So you want to stay on the channel and all of that. It's still a ratings thing for the hour. It really is. So just, hey, and Dunne, Dunne and O'Reilly, that'll keep my eyes, that'll keep my butt in the seat, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I also wonder at times if either show is really that concerned about the other show. Because...
I think so.
I think NXT is just doing what it does and knows that it's going to bring in people because they're good at it. And I think AEW doesn't know any better.
No, Tony knows. No. Tony knows. Like some of these moves he's trying to pull, Tony knows. I think he's more on what are they doing than, WWE saying, well, what are they doing? Because honestly,
so does Tony know, or is he just bad at his jobs? Because he's got a bad football team, a shitty soccer team.
He's bad at his job.
Whatever.
But then again, okay, that's his father's money. But he's just really, to be honest with you, and I know we'll go into it, he's just bad at his job.
Go ahead. Pick up a Pointless Aggression t-shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just bad at I mean, I'm not saying, yo, Tony, let me have the book for an evening, But, I mean, honestly, like, I'm like,
I wouldn't want to be cursed like that. But... Before we get into that,
but I'm just
put that evil on me, Tony Khan. Don't you make me book this show. Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne. Yeah. I'm getting you back on track, Amanda.
Yeah,
Tell me what you thought, because you're revving and you're ready. What did you think, Amanda, of O'Reilly and Pete Dunne?
I'm like, God damn, I could watch this two fight each other like forever. Like, I'm like, this is the kind of... This is like my kind of wrestling. I mean, these two I just was like, I have to watch this again. Like I stopped when it was done. I'm like, I need to watch it again because I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going through anymore. I need to see this again because it was that incredible, I think.
You know what's wild about it too? They've had several matches now, and every match they have feels like a first time ever feel.
Yeah.
Like you get that same level of excitement of like, I have no idea what I'm about to get.
Yeah, and it feels like it's getting better and better if it can get better and better. Yes. Because sometimes you think, God, this is like, the 10th match between blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, oh, God, it's going to be the same old crap. But no, every time these guys deliver and they manage to bring it up a notch. And I'm like, if this is the kind, I think this is what people think of, I would hope people think of when they think of wrestling. This is what wrestling is to its core, and then having great commentary with it along with it. Yeah, that I mean, you can't go wrong with it. And I mean, I can't complain about any of that. Like, I mean, that I want more of that. That's the only complaint I have. Give us more of things like this.
Yeah, you're gushing.
And I think that they've done such a great job down in NXT that, you know, of being able to craft these kinds of matches with people that once, you know, I think that once it goes to a main roster, that magic is like, it's not really there anymore.
Which I really appreciate coming from you, because when I first asked you to help out with the show because of the circumstances of my drinking buddies, you didn't watch NXT almost at all. You're like, well, I guess I can watch it. And you're like, am I going to need to catch up on stuff? No. I wanted to know your fresh take of what you think of it. And I was bringing you in, in my mind, I was like, okay, now I'm going to have an AEW loyalist on the show. So when I talk shit about AEW, they'll defend it. And then it turns out that's not what I got at all.
No, I equally talk shit about everybody. I'm an equal opportunity shit talker. But,
yeah,
you know,
100%. It's not. I didn't know that coming up front. I didn't know what I was getting into, and I'm excited. Yeah. But I really like that because you weren't watching NXT, and at this point, you're like, "This is wrestling," and it's like, what a cool thing to hear from someone who a year ago was like, "Oh, I don't really watch anything WWE." You know what I mean?
No, and I've had a couple of people give me shit because they're like, "I thought you didn't watch anything WWE." I go, "Yeah, I know." I said, but part of this is because, you know, I'm being objective, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're seeing, like for me, I'm seeing something like this. This is when it goes to beyond into the next step. That's when it's like, oh man, this is shit. Like this is awful.
You've got a line in the sand. That's okay. My line is different. I want to know what Grim thinks of this match, Amanda. Let's throw it over to Grim. Grim, what did you think of O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne? Not for you?
Come on now, bro. Come on. Great match. Obviously, you know. I
don't know what the fuss is about.
I know. It's you know, yeah, they were all right. They were cool. All right, next match. No. So really, the match was unreal. I loved how they just stood in the ring while all the tag team turmoil hubbub was happening outside the ring. You know, Undisputed Era, Lorcan and Birch, and Drake and Killian, and Breezango or Breezango, whichever way you want to say. Yeah. They're all fighting each other. Hopefully that leads to like a tag team turmoil or a tag team ladder match at New Year's Evil or something like that for the championships or something. But they got rid of all the outside interference. No one's gonna run in from the back. Just everyone's gone. Then those two could just collide and go for the number one contendership. Really like that we just got that out of the way right away. And then just I truly believe that just based on everything going on right now, I'm very excited that O'Reilly won and that he's going to have the rematch with Balor for the title in 3 weeks. Very excited for that. Dunne would have been awesome in that spot too, but I just feel like the continual rise of Kyle O'Reilly as a single star. He's not just that tag team specialist anymore, especially now that Bobby Fish is on the sidelines right now. They're not teaming him back up with Roderick Strong again like before. They're keeping him in his own entity right now. So I'm all for Kyle O'Reilly right now.
Mm-hmm. The one line that sold me on the match, because at first I was like, I really want Pete Dunne and Finn Balor. And I was like, I love Kyle O'Reilly and Finn. And I've actually had a few friends who don't watch wrestling often unless I tell them you should probably go check out that segment or this match. Then they'll watch stuff, or they'll ask about older things. Hey, what's an old pay-per-view I should check out? This or that, you know? That was one I was handing out to everybody. Hey, you got to watch O'Reilly and Balor. This is what you want to see. And everyone was coming back with the same thing saying, oh my God, I didn't realize wrestling was like this. And I was like, it's not. It's not all like this. Don't get your hopes up. Don't start watching everything and then ask me what the fuck's going on around here. It's not all this way. But hopefully one day it does become all this way. Because to me, the greatest thing that's happening to American wrestling right now is the influx of British wrestlers who are coming over who are tired of the shit. And they want to slap motherfuckers around. We need more people like Sheamus who's like upset that the bars are closed. And so now he's got to pick fights in the ring because he doesn't get to pick fights at the bars anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's so detached from British wrestling that
Sheamus's style right now, if you were to see one of the recent Sheamus matches, he could fit right back in. Oh yeah.
I'll have to take
Sheamus
a
and
look. 'Cause
Walters.
I don't know. I have to take a look at that then, because I don't know
Let
if
me
I
find
buy
out
it.
the last Sheamus match we saw. We thought that. Who was the AJ?
Okay.
AJ Sheamus just happened. Yeah,
Okay.
that was on SmackDown this week. Check it out.
Okay.
He could easily slide back into British, I think.
Okay. I'll take a look.
He hasn't always. I'll give you that. But all that to say, the thing that sold me on it was Wade Barrett when they said, Wade, who do you think Balor would want to fight in this one? Or who do you think he wants to be in the match? He goes, I've been in that ring before and gotten an injury at the hands of another man. He's like, there's nothing I wanted more than to get back in the ring with that man. He goes, because nothing in this world comes free, and I love nothing more than to give back a receipt. And he goes, and I don't think Finn Balor's any different. And I went, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's why Wade Barrett's the best on that. Dude. Yeah.
Oh, my God. He said that, and I was like,
yeah. I was like,
O'Reilly, run!
yeah. I had to stand up. I'm like, I have to stand up. I was like, this is great. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
it was so good.
no.
And that was it. I was sold. I was like, yeah, sorry, Pete. It's not your moment.
Yeah. You'll have a moment again, Pete. It's okay. No, no. Yeah.
And
This is
when Wade Barrett says on commentary, you just got it. He has a way with words, like you guys were saying. I liked him on the mic though when he was the leader of Nexus and the Core and all of it. I'm sorry, there was no leader of the Core, but we all know who the leader was. But they very good, and I'm glad he's here on commentary, just driving home some points. I mean, like both of you were just saying earlier on that they are one of the best commentary teams right now in wrestling. So, I mean, so overall though, just the quality is there, and it really drives home the match. Really ties the match together, having all of them together on commentary, including Wade.
And Vic Joseph feels like the little league coach who keeps the ball flying. The one who sits on home. He'll sit at the pitcher's mound and toss it to everybody, and then he'll throw it in the air and knock it with. Or he sits at home plate, punches it to everybody, just tees it off for everyone. He's so good at getting to everyone, and he'll even say, and I love it so much because as much as we all like Morrow, my biggest problem with Morrow is that he would just steamroll over Beth Phoenix like she didn't exist. And no matter what she started to say, it didn't matter because he had to say something. He had to make a hip-hop quote. And if he didn't get that in, the whole show's ruined. So those moments constantly just upset me. And every time you hear Vic talk to Wade, he'll eventually, it's not always like dragged out, but he'll say, Beth, I was thinking this about this thing. What do you think? Like setting it up with like nobody answer but Beth after this. I'm giving her the floor. And I love that because it was so solid.
Yeah, and one thing
she's
about
so
Beth,
good. Go ahead.
It is, and one thing about Beth that kind of blows me away is that usually when women are on commentary, and this is I'm not talking shit about you, Renee, but there's something always about when women are on commentary with the guys. It's almost like they kind of have to kind of bow down and be very, very meek. They can't really have an opinion. And if they have something that they say or make a comment that could be kind of like, what the, kind of off, they really don't have much conviction. And with Beth, this is what I love because it's like, she's very firm with it. And it's not something where, like, I'm a badass bitch, you have to listen to me. It's just, she's very, very firm with it, what she says, like, I mean, and it's well respected. And you can tell because the two of them, they respond very, very well to it. And when you throw other women in, and this was my complaint with Renee, my complaint with Veda Scott, when Veda Scott was doing the lovely in the internet wrestling you don't watch, is when women are put in there with men, a lot of times they bow down to it, or you get these stupid fights that I'm like, that has nothing to do with what's going on over here. We don't care about your personal dislike for each other. If you don't like each other, whatever, do that on your own time. Don't do it on my viewership time. And especially, because if I'm not watching a product normally, it's nice to have some of these interjections, because especially if it's, people that I might not even know, it's nice to have that. And so that's where I also, NXT is kind of drawing me too. That's the other part.
Beth is very matter of fact when she talks, very, I don't say deliberate, but very just matter of fact, very just, it's credible. Because also, Hall of Famer. You know, all the moments of the the mid 2000s, early 2010s that she was still wrestling and everything. I mean, we all remember Beth Phoenix, you know, when she was in the Royal Rumble and the whole thing, and just, you know, her championship reigns and that was the Glamazon and all that. So she has credibility coming from that way also. So of course there's credibility when she's talking about what a wrestler's mindset is and what the female competitors are thinking. You know, she was really good in War Games. You know, just given that perspective as well as being a female athlete too, just kind of tying it all together. So yeah, I give kudos to Beth on that too.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with all of that. Let's see. Let's get back to the show. I feel like we've done a pretty good job of putting over the commentary team.
Woo!
I mean, they're my absolute favorite in wrestling right now. They really are. Let's see. After that match, is there anything we missed on that match that you guys want to talk about? I don't have a lot more to say about it because I think you guys encapsulated it pretty great. It was just fucking brutal and phenomenal and so well put together, so detailed. I loved every second of it. Pretty sure it's something you want to say?
I'm just happy to see Pete Dunne in like non-squash matches.
Yeah, there was when Pete Dunne was first showing up in NXT, he would come out and she would be all like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go start dinner or something." I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, "Well, this guy's gonna lose," and I was like, "He's really good." She goes, "He can't be that good. He never wins," and I was like, "Well, I guess. Like, I'll see you in a bit." That, and I couldn't argue. He lost every single match that she ever saw him in for like the first year.
So frustrating.
Yeah, and then like she saw a match where he almost won, like that triple threat, I think, and she goes, "Oh, this guy's really good," and then lost a bunch after that too, and then it was all like, "Oh, I guess he was not that good." So she was really frustrated. So when he came back all jacked, she was all like, "Oh, hello," as she does. She's like, "Oh,
Hey,
British Ricochet."
Hello.
Did you not see any of his UK championship run of almost 2 years?
She did not.
His matches were just unreal. Believable matches. I mean, he was super dominant for 650 days or something ridiculous, and then Walter put a stop to that. But just for that first almost 2-year run, he was just a monster in NXT UK.
Yeah, but then he gets to NXT proper and can't win a fucking match. It really undermined all of NXT UK to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy was so dominant for so long in such great matches, and then he gets here and he just gets shit all over. It's all like, oh, NXT UK must be like kindergarten. It must be real easy over there. I could probably win myself. I'm not saying it felt that way in the time, Grim. But I'm saying, for a viewer who's not familiar with him, that's what it looks like and sounds like. I was like, he held them up for like 600 days. She's like, against children, I guess. Why would I think that he could? Yeah. So I was like,
and then you
look
at Walter, and you're like, fuck, that guy must have scared the shit out of him, because now this guy can't wrestle anymore. He loses all the time.
Yeah, he was just scarred for life after Walter is all it was.
Which there are some people who should be scarred after wrestling Walter. But
okay, guys, after that was Shotzi Blackheart versus Indy Hartwell. I think this was a victim of circumstance kind of a match. You can't follow that match with something like this, I don't think. These are two really good performers. These women have a ton of promise. I think they're both going to be huge, huge stars in a few years. Shotzi's already on the upswing, and I think that's why this match was placed here, because they think her star power alone was enough to carry the weight of that, and I just don't think it did. So I think it felt a little flat, but it was a good match. And I think if we had watched this match earlier, we'd be talking about how amazing this match was. But I think because it was where it was like, oh yeah, then Shotzi and Indy had a good match. Does that make sense? Am I way off?
Yeah. Oh no, you're on point. There needs to be peaks and valleys throughout the not much of a valley, because again, just in terms of the like the balance of the show. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, and when you look at what matches, all the matches as a whole, it's like, okay, where do you put things?
Yeah.
And to be honest, you know, it kind of, unfortunately, that's where that match had to go, because you couldn't put Ciampa after the O'Reilly match, because it's like, that's way too.
No, I think that what you would have done is I think they should have left everything exactly where it was, but Pete and Kyle should have closed the show, and everything else could have been exactly the same, and it would have been this huge, just all killer, no filler, all rise, no dip. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been peaks and valleys. It would have all been just an up
They're
climb.
going for the ratings, brother. They're
Yeah,
going
maybe.
for those ratings. You know. Yeah,
That's
we
how I
don't.
felt about
You know, and yeah, they got to beat the men with the bats. Oh, that's right. Both of them have bat. Yeah. So they have to meet the men with the bats. Yeah.
There was that
so,
whole thing.
yeah.
What did you think of it,
So,
Amanda?
You know, unfortunately, it was a good match. Shotzi's doing a little better, but honestly, like it was hard to watch because, you know, we just saw this really great damn match. It's like, oh, okay, all right, now you're trying to flirt with me again. It's like having sex. It was great sex. You had this great sex, and then all of a sudden they want more, and you're like, bro, I'm like a little spent right now. I can't.
We just finished.
That's
what are you
how
talking about?
That's how I'm. That's how that match was for me. I'm just like, I can't do this right now. Like, I just can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. So, like, for me, it was like, oh, okay. I mean, her promo
Grim, did
was
you
better.
feel the same?
Yeah.
Well, this is the way now. So,
Yeah.
There you go.
Grim, would you have described it the same way given the opportunity?
you know what? I mean, sometimes the ball just gets placed right on the tee. You got to smack it right off. That's what Amanda did. It's out of the park already. I can't get it from here. So, but I will say,
I'm just gonna walk the bases.
Right. I'll just, I was already on first, and she hit the homer, so I'm just running around in front. I'm good.
Yeah, I won the World Series with that one. Yeah.
The match itself, I'm digging Shotzi's new tank. I like it. I'm a fan all the way through on that. The DQ finish was fine in my book because, again, the way is like, we're bad. Okay, so just like we have to, kind of keep piling on Shotzi. But that was the other thing too. Again, building up sympathy for Shotzi and everything. Nobody came out to help her, and she was just getting dogged on 4-on-1 essentially. So it's kind of like, like no EO, no Ember Moon. I know that Rhea was getting ready for her match, but just no one came out, even for that, 1 second burst, and then, they get all knocked out again. But just, literally nobody helped Shotzi. So
fucker.
Now, honestly, how this builds to the Gargano Christmas next week, can't wait to see what happens there. So maybe she ruins the party with that, but time will tell with that one.
Do you think that the disqualification was supposed to happen? Because to me, it looked a little bit like mistiming on Indy's part and the ref's part, and the ref looked like he was given no choice and had to do it. But I don't know if I was getting worked or not. I love eating crow, and I'm a fan of getting worked. But there was part of me that thought, I think Indy might have been supposed to get away with it. And when she realized and he realized that they couldn't, they just said, well, let's just keep going with it. And I think that the aftermath became the focus because of a missed time. But like I said, if I'm getting worked, I'm getting worked. I'm not going to try to defend myself there. Do you guys think I'm being worked, or do you think that was a mistiming that did it?
Yep. No, I see what you're saying. It goes to the comedic theme that we were talking about earlier. Austin Theory, remember the past few weeks they were doing the promos in the ring, and Indy did that, that the sound with her mouth, the Shakira sound with her mouth, and then like Austin Theory's like, oh wait, am I supposed to say that? And Gargano's like, oh no, well it's like a comedy show. So when Indy was like, oh, right in front of the referee, oh no, that wasn't supposed to happen. Like for me, that was a part of their whole comedic vibe that they're trying. Like Marsh, like you were talking about earlier. The taking seriously part was not there. Oh no, I made a mistake, and then they just kind of went off from there. That's where I think that they were kind of chomping at there.
See, I thought that was a cover for them realizing, shit, I was supposed to do that a second ago.
Okay.
And that's what I thought. But like I said, I might be getting worked. That's a very real possibility. I'm not smarter than other people. I've never said so.
That's the way. Quote unquote. Maybe you are getting work. I don't know.
I hate you guys. You guys are both the worst to me. This is why I like Clump. I can beat him up. Amanda, what did you think of the whole thing? Besides the fallout is what I meant, because you'd already talked about that.
Well, I was a little confused, but then I'm like, is it supposed to be funny? And I don't know. Is the way supposed to be funny now? And I didn't really realize that it was a Mandalorian thing either. But yeah, and I watch it, but I forgot they're Disney nerds. Hello, I forgot totally about that. So, but I don't know. I mean, it's a little weird, but you know, I also thought it was very funny. It was very interesting. No one did come out to help Shotzi, so maybe something got lost in communication. I mean, that was a little strange to me. I'm like, where is everybody?
That's true too.
But,
if there was a misstep, no one would be ready to come out.
Yeah,
but
or people were like, "Oh shit, we're supposed to come out." Oh, okay, it could have been. So that's where it's kind of like it was very weird, and it just seemed like timing. It could go any way. So I think they just kind of did what they could do.
Well, I mean, then that's good. I'm gonna say that's a positive. If there's enough reasonable doubt on both sides of it, I'm gonna call that a positive.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like this is just another one of those like Shotzi matches where it's like, well, was it supposed to go like this?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, let me see. So that's where I think about that too.
Guys, the Xia Li video, you guys want to talk about that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, what the hell is going on over there? And
these are intense, like weirdly intense. I love it.
Super intense. She started having to kick the shit out of Boa, and she's like crying, and he's like, "Why are you killing me?"
It was Gladiator.
She thought it was Gladiator. She thought the whole channel changed, and I was like, "No, that's Xia Li. You can tell because she's 3'4" and all muscle."
Yeah.
Yeah. She was just kicking the shit out of Boa, and you're all like, "Yep, I don't want to take one of those kicks. Not once. Not once." And he's just taking him to the chest like, "Oh, it's all right." And I'm like, I'd be coughing up blood immediately. She wouldn't even make full contact yet, and I'd be coughing up blood.
Yeah.
It's so compelling. This whole thing is just, in the beginning, it's like, you know, he comes out with a note and everything's just like, well, what's going on? Da, da, da. And then just as this story just keeps going, like, really, it's like a weekly episode. It's an episodic 90-second episode of what's going on with Boa and Xia and all this training and everything. So really, I look forward to that every week. I hope it's really good. Some slow burns are good, and this is a good one.
I agree. Here's the other thing. I also completely understand the criticisms by some that it is so out of place and goofy in the regards of, so there's just a cameraman in this dungeon and a production crew doing all this stuff while people are being tortured. You know what I mean? Like, I get all of those criticisms, and I just don't fucking care. I'm loving it. I love all of it. I don't care. I hear you. I go, yeah, it does seem peculiar that they're, but I don't care. I just love it too much to care.
That's draining. That way of thinking, just, you know, it's very draining to me to take in opinions like that.
Yes.
Be in the moment. It's a cool cinematic, like, movie-ish. What are they doing next? Like, really, it's compelling and it's good. You know, someone who makes a comment like that is just, they just want to say something to say something. Like, that stuff bothers me. So, yeah, I don't put any stock into stuff like that.
No, 100%. I agree completely. I think that that mentality is, I do think of all the things the old timers will say, I do think that there's a leftover mentality of, when we filmed it, it had to look like it made sense and was actually happening in real time, real all the time. And I do believe that there's a certain level of reality that's getting lost that doesn't need to. But I also feel there's a certain level of TV that we understand we are watching as well. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that the evolution of the business, as it were, does a lot for a space for vignettes and videos like that and such. So I agree. I hear that stuff and I go, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Everything you're saying makes sense, and I don't care, and I don't agree. I like what I'm watching. End of story. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I at least don't pretend like it's not happening. Amanda, what do you want to say about it?
I think that in the advent of YouTube and having a lot of wrestlers put their content, like a BTE or whoever, the blog or whoever does whatever they do, that having these kind of vignettes, I enjoy, because, you know, not all of us are going to go run out to YouTube to watch some of this stuff unless you're invested in it. And so for me, Like I love this, and if it's especially if it's well curated content, because there's some vignettes you're like, oh Jesus, but these are like really amazing. The only thing that I have the issue with is when we actually bring the product into fruition.
Yeah.
How is that going to transfer over?
Yeah.
What's going to
I'm
happen?
terrified about where
Because
it's
it
going.
could be absolutely amazing, or it could be a shit show. And I have a feeling it's going to be a shit show. I mean, I want to be positive about it, but these vignettes are like they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I don't know how well that all transfers over to the program. And it's like, how can you, like, you can't really have a dungeon. That'd be kind of weird. But
no, but you can build a monster heel out of this.
You can, but that brutality, if you're expecting it and you want to see that, probably not going to happen. Probably not. And if it does, it's
right? So where I think it could go, if it's going to go well, I think here's my big question too. The woman in the background that's training and stuff with the white face paint with the red across the eyes. What if that translates over into, I don't know about a manager or on screen or anything like that. I have no idea about that. That's, to me, the details. But what if Xia Li started coming out with sort of a white face paint and maybe smeared red, and it's not as nice and neat as the one that we're seeing in the vignettes, but kind of smeared over the eyes, and she just goes fucking lunatic on everybody, rolls through all the people who've been beating her, and makes her way all the way up to Io Shirai, just on this fucking tear of I'm here and I've been trained to murder, and I'm going to just do that now. I think Xia Li versus Io Shirai in a murder match could be incredible.
Oh yeah. But it's how they end up building it, and it transforms on, because it could be something where, man, you're plowing over everybody. Yeah, that's cool. But if it's not done right, and then, I think probably the best thing with it would be the order in which it was done and who. I think those are the two most important things with that. Yeah. And then I think that it probably could work very well. And that would be awesome. But I fear what will happen. So I'm pro the vignettes, but just fearing what the reality and the actuality is.
I trust NXT, but I trust NXT though. I trust Triple H. I trust William Regal. They're like the way that this is being built. Exactly like you said, Marsh. They're gonna strap a rocket to Xia and Boa, whether that means Boa accompanies Xia or Xia. There are championship implications happening with this. Whether it be probably WrestleMania weekend, probably see a build up all the way up to that takeover over the next 3 to 4 months, kind of like that. There will be a build and there will be bulldozing all the way up to the top champions. For Boa, I think it might be the North American Championship, because right now the NXT Championship picture is a little crowded right now, especially with Karrion. I think Karrion's going to be taking it back sometime soon. But just I could see a North American and a women's championship for both of them, and having a stable of their own, so to speak. Just kind of working through that way. But again, man, I know what you're saying, like just, what sometimes is too good to be true might be, but again, with NXT, I just trust how they're going to develop this story, and I think they'll do it the right way.
Oh yeah. If I could be an asshole for a second, remember when Jinder won the title because they opened up WWE India? Do they have a Chinese version yet?
No. There was talks of it prior to COVID that there was going to be another NXT.
Yeah, China or Asia.
Right. There's going to be an NXT Asia or China or something. And remember, they hired all those Chinese recruits maybe about a year and a half ago or so, year and a half ago or so. And they were going to develop a third brand that way. But then obviously with everything going on, so they brought all the talent this way.
Yeah, because even the
I don't know, just kind of an asshole thought of, I wonder if they're gonna do a big push because they're doing something like that. I mean, business is business, and I mean, I understand why they have Jinder, and I like Jinder at the end of the day and all that, but I don't know, just kind of an asshole thought, just throwing it out there, seeing what you guys think.
Yeah. And I think they did that too on the heels of Oriental Wrestling and AEW having a collab. So that failed because we haven't seen any of those guys in a while. I love Strong Hearts, but we haven't seen them. So
well. We did see
all I get is Jim Ross saying all I get is Jim Ross calling things Oriental, which he shouldn't be. That's all I get out of it.
Well, he shouldn't. But I understand his confusion when they all came from the company they came from. What was it called?
Oriental Wrestling.
Yeah. So I think that confused him. So I get it.
Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. Excuse me.
Yeah. I just think that was confusing is all. I think that's what it was. I think it was a misstep, and I don't think it was an intentional thing.
No, because Top Ramen still, they changed their thing from Oriental flavor to soy sauce, but there's a tagline that says still that same Oriental flavor. Can't win them all. Can't win them all. Can't win them all.
We're going to change it, but we're going to wink at you. Karrion Kross versus Desmond Troy. I don't have a lot to say about this, just that it went really well. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. Reminds you who Karrion Kross is. Gives you that feeling of watching the entrance one more time. I do feel at times it might be a bit more theatrical than I need for every single show he's on. But it is also a big reveal. It was his big comeback.
So good.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's just it, Grim, is it's so good that I almost want it to be more special. I don't want it to get old, but it hasn't yet, but I'm afraid it will. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm waiting for the day when Scarlett gets to go freaking ham on somebody, give him a Hurricane Rana and 7-inch heels. I've seen it live and whoa, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for that, but that's the only thing that can make it even better. But that's part of his persona. It's big. It's going to be big, and it's going to be, over the top and all of that, because that's what he is.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, I said, I love it. My fear is I'm going to get tired of it. I
No,
haven't
I don't
yet,
think you'll
and I
ever-
don't want to.
No, you'll never get tired of it.
I'll just never get tired of it. If y'all never get tired of it, I'm fine with that.
No,
don't
they'll
want
add
to.
other elements to it because he's got a lot of tricks in his bag.
All right.
I unfortunately have seen a lot of it over the years as
I don't
he
like how you
struggled.
said that, but I hear you.
Kind of, get signed, but I mean, he does. He's got a lot.
We are in a world where we could have the Karrion Kross entrance and the Demon entrance back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forget it.
And then the next night, a Fiend entrance.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what Alexa's entrance is going to be like when she finally fucking snaps. If she doesn't go full on Punky Brewster full time. We'll see.
Good call.
Let's see. I don't have anything else to add about that match other than it was spectacularly Karrion Kross. Was there anything that you guys wanted to throw out there?
No.
No, just the setup to Priest in a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so right before we get into the main event, the final Fury, as I'll call it for no good reason, backstage interview with Isaiah Swerve Scott. I thought he did tremendous. I thought he was doing an awesome job. He challenged Jake Atlas, and then Everrise came out, and I can't tell. Here's the funny thing. We'll talk about AEW in just a second here. AEW had a best friends backstage interview that was almost identical to this happening at the same time. It was crazy. And I think more than anything, the Everrise has to be a joke about best friends, but I just don't know. Grim, what did you think about Swerve Scott and the Everrise thing?
You have maintained that about Everrise and best friends for a little while now, so let's keep that going. Swerve Scott, charisma just drifts through the screen when he's on there. I really like him as a performer, just, in the ring and everything. I root for him when he's in the matches. Just overall, again, backstage interviews, get in with the character, get rolling, get moving, get invested. I'm all for that. Also, real quick too, Amanda, like you're talking about earlier, the Bronson Reed vignette coming back next week. Very excited about that too. But overall, though, good segment.
I enjoyed it. I was so happy with Swerve here. Amanda, I want to know what you think about it, and then we're going to go right into the main event. So you can pitch it right into the main event as soon as you're done talking about Isaiah and Everrise.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. That's a best friends thing, and it's like when you see something that's doing good, the copying is a form of flattery, and they've been running that best friends thing to the ground for years, and people still love it. So Swerve was the one person who, when he signed, my heart was so broken because it was like, no, you're just such an like that year he signed, he had such an incredible year. I mean, he's the man responsible for putting Defy Wrestling in Seattle on the map. I don't care what people will tell me, that man's responsible for it. He's responsible for the Pacific Northwest, the resurgence over there. People can argue with me, but I'm like, no, that man carried them, that place. And and they had enough to carry on. Him and Atlas, I love. There's a match, if you ever are bored and want to see a really good match of Swerve versus Jake Atlas at APW in San Francisco. That to me was the match of the fucking year. It was live. It was like one of the best matches I'd probably ever seen.
Yeah.
But in that particular year, because it was one of that was Swerve's only introduction in the Bay Area, but that was on his farewell tour. That match was incredible. I mean, that basically cemented, this is Jake Atlas, and you need to know who the fuck he is, and it's that incredible. So,
well, hopefully after this match, they start building into who the fuck Jake Atlas is, because I think that's the one thing he's missing right now, is a reason for me to give a shit.
Yeah, and my thing is, it's like, don't give a shit about him because, okay, he's a gay wrestler. No, because that's the one thing I remember, because I've known him for a long time. And that's one thing I said to him. I said, you're signed with them, but that's my biggest fear, is that they're going to make you the poster boy of the LGBTQ community. And that's not what you want to do. You're a fucking phenomenal wrestler. It's like, you need to know, people need to know who the fuck you are and how talented you are without having to go back to see, they need to know from watching a program, how amazing you are. And
but there's also tasteful ways they can do it, and they did a very good job with Sonya and all that.
Yeah, but with males, it's a little different, though. With females, I think it is different. There is a difference, because I think about Darren Young. I mean, he became this poster boy, okay? And I think maybe they thought, okay, with Sonya Deville, let's not do that. But having her on Total Divas too, I mean, that kind of was another way of, okay, let's promote this with, but being subtle about it. So I think that there's a learning curve.
I may not understand contracts, and I'm not a backstage person whatsoever, but everything I understand about Total Divas, it is up to the talent on if they want to be on it or not. My understanding is a number of talent have said no, they don't want to be on it. Yeah. And Sonya, I think, wanted to be on it to portray that, because she had just recently come out, and she wanted to be that. She wanted it to be that public. She wanted to be something that kids could look at and find inspiration in. So I think that it's a little unfair to judge WWE on that one, because I think that Sonya had a big push in that.
Yeah, and they could have told her no, though. They could have. But the way I see, if I didn't know that, that's how I see it was, okay, you're I'm trying to push that agenda in a way. I don't know. There. But that's just 100%. Me. But she's an incredible wrestler, and what she's done for the community is amazing. But Atlas, we need to know who the fuck he is and why we should care. And I think that's the biggest thing. Speaking of knowing who people are and who they fucking should care, the one thing I will have to comment about the Toni Storm, that with that vignette and that segment that we didn't touch on was, she's faced Rhea before, but this is a different Toni Storm. She's not faced this Toni Storm. Yeah. And I kind of liked hearing that, because it's like, okay, well, now this is because we've talked before, it's a different Toni. And so now seeing it, it's like, whoa, okay, this is a different Toni. And then I will say that the other thing that was distracting, because I was looking at Rhea's eyebrows, because she had that weird, I'm like, is that hair? Did you draw it? I was trying to figure it out, but then I was like, no.
How does that work?
How does that work? But it was a phenomenal match. I mean, but knowing that Toni went into it was like, she's not wrestled this Toni. That for me was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be something good. It's gonna be something a little bit different from before, because again, it's something that we've seen before. So now it's just a little different. And you could tell it was. And I think it was placed where it should be. If you were to flip-flop the O'Reilly Dunne match and the two, you could totally flip-flop it and be better. But I honestly think that having this as the main event at the end worked probably the best.
I wouldn't have even flip flopped it. If I were to have done it differently, I would have had this on right before the main event, because you would have been on such a high from this one because it's so good that Pete and O'Reilly would be the only thing that could follow it. So I agree with you there. I do want to say quick shout out in the chat, a longtime viewer and friend of the show, TP Poker, coming through, saying hello, saying Tony Storm is amazing and talking a little bit of smut, because that's what he does in our chat. That's why we like him. Cheers to TP Poker. Thank you for coming through again, buddy. But yes, I wouldn't have said flip-flop them. I would have said leave everything exactly where it is, but put that one on the end. Grim, what did you think of the match?
Solid, awesome match. Right up there with their championship match in NXT UK. Very, very solid, good match. And also, this is them being more experienced, or just just a very crisp, solid match. I felt in my bones, though, we weren't just like what we had with O'Reilly and Dunne, the actual end, definitive winner. We got a #1 contender for Balor. I felt Raquel Gonzalez in the background somewhere on this one, and I knew once she got involved, I was like, okay, so this is setting up their next match. But I knew that dynamic wasn't done because they had the face-off last week. So her coming out and doing the distraction finish, or the interference finish, and then Tony getting the win that way. A win is a win, with this.
Yeah.
But overall, the match itself, though, great.
Yeah, my only complaint was that I thought that because this is a new Tony, because Tony lost the title after taking it off Rhea, she loses the title to Kylie Ray and kind of starts to fall down the card and shows up over here in kind of relatively mid-card kind of area, and she's not been looking super dominant. She's also been the one to take a lot of the heat in the tag matches, even when she was the face. She wasn't the one getting the hot tag. She was just kind of coming back and looking like she's getting her ass handed to her a lot. So I thought the idea of Tony getting a win over Rhea could be huge for her character to re-solidify that not only did I beat Rhea before for the title, I could do it again whenever I want. I am that big. I am that top star. I do think having her get a win with an asterisk because Raquel was so involved in the finish bummed me out a little bit. But she's a heel. She's going to work it. It's going to be the whole a W's a W, like you said. I got to win over Rhea. None of that other stuff matters. But I do think for personal credibility's sake and how much I like Tony in general, I would have liked that clean win. But I see what they're doing with it. It protects Rhea because Rhea has been, booked as next level and future of the business type and on the level of a Charlotte. And if they're not going to put Tony on that same level right away, then this is the way to do it. So I see it, but whatever. It is what it is. Real quick in the chat before I throw it over to Amanda. TV Poker says, I hope you're all having healthy and safe holiday season. That goes to you guys too. And goes, you guys are the absolute best in the business. I appreciate that. Cheers to TP Poker, friend of the show.
TPP.
Yeah, he's one of our long time from very early on and one of our favorites. I still have, you gotta DM me, dude, your address. I have a signed poker chip by all of us, and I was gonna send you some poker chips we had made just because your name's Poker, and I still have it just sitting here, man. So
2 years ago.
yeah, 2 years ago almost, from the original episode 1 almost. So I've got this poker chip I had custom made for a guy. Come on, man, help me out. I got you gifts. Amanda, what did you think? If there's anything that you missed on your first run through it?
I don't think there really wasn't anything that I missed. I just,
I think you nailed it.
I think, honestly, like Tony and Rhea, there'll be a day where there's that clean definitive win.
Yeah,
there'll be that day.
I think we'll get back to that.
But, right now, no. I think that's going to get saved for something like a takeover or something like that. It's got to be on a bigger stage.
And any win over Rhea is a big win. I'm not going to pretend like even that win is like a lesser win.
No,
it's a big
Rhea
win either way you cut it.
Yeah, Rhea is that, that amazing. And again, she's the future, and If you're lucky enough, I think, to be put in programs with someone that they consider the future, then you got to run with it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think that wraps up the show for NXT. Unless there's something in there that you guys think that we're missing, because I just thought it was tremendous. I watched AEW first. I always do because of the way that my live feeds come in, and I will be honest, it might have made me that much more excited watching NXT, seeing stuff, especially early on, seeing like a Ciampa and Thatcher. There is nothing like that on any other program. Bottom line.
No.
So
there's nothing. O'Reilly and Dunne. There's nothing like that
Yeah.
either. I mean.
And then seeing the women's division be so strong over here, I was watching this like I was drinking ice cold water in the middle of July, in the middle of a desert. I was like, this is everything. That's what I felt like.
But I guess leaning into AEW.
Yeah.
So I guess we got another one of those paid Tony Khan ads. I'm curious what everyone thinks about these.
Grim, let me ask you direct. Do you find Tony Khan to be a relatable guy that gets you more excited about the product he's giving? And the reason I ask is because Bully Ray on Busted Open went on a whole thing about that, saying that Tony Khan coming out in a polo and looking casual with messy hair and stuttering and being stammering makes him endearing to fans, and he's the exact opposite of Vince McMahon and makes him the kind of relatable person that will bring people back and get people interested because they look at him and say, I could be friends with that guy, I could know that guy, I could be that guy, so they want to be a part of the viewership of it. It's not what I feel. I'll start with that, but I want to know, Grim, is that how you feel? Is Tony Khan one of the guys?
I'm still, the jury's still out for me for Tony Khan. He doesn't have that Vince McMahon presence. You're on point there.
Mm-hmm.
At least the way the portrayal is. I mean, you hear the rumors that wrestlers are, for AEW, like the whole VP or EVPs of Cody and the Bucks and all of that, like just like that dynamic. I mean, remember, they are a young company. They just started, unofficially 2 years ago, but a year ago, AEW, the Dynamite's been on and all of that. So I think Tony's finding his footing.
Yeah.
Because also, if you think about it, this is a new company for him, a new venture that he's going into, a new investment, if you will. So he is the owner, right? But he's kind of owner, let's say. he's kind of the, like, he's the, let's say, managing partner, if you will. So just the looking at it, right? Vince McMahon built the WWF/E/entertainment from the ground up, essentially, taking it from his father and then going up from there. Tony Khan's like partnering up with people like Jericho and the Bucks and Cody and all that have wrestling in their blood, and you have Arn Anderson and Jim Ross and Tully Blanchard and all that, right? So just like he's kind of like partnering and combining with them, just so they can kind of get the footing. Although Tony Khan is the person with the money and with the power of the purse and all of that, he's technically the owner. But just I feel like they're still on equal footing, if you will. Like they're still feeling each other out. I don't think Tony Khan's coming down on, like, he's not like Vince McMahon where there's only one boss and everything goes through Vince McMahon. I think Tony Khan's more collaborative because he has to be, because he's building the relationship with the company.
Mm-hmm. But do you find that to make him relatable and endearing enough to bring you back? Because I do agree. I try to cut him slack as much as I give him a ton of shit. I do try to cut him slack because I do think that if I had the access to the kind of money he's got access to, I would also buy the biggest meet and greet known to man and put it on TV every week. But it does feel that way a lot. So I do try to cut him slack for that. But I didn't feel his presence here was the kind of thing that made me go, this guy definitely knows what he's doing and definitely gonna be able to bring me in. And he felt like some weirdo fans I've talked to at Toy Cons where I go, what are you talking about? Producer said something you want to say real quick.
I just don't find him at all entertaining.
Tony Khan?
Like, yeah, which when I think about it and the other product, yeah,
by Vince, or even Stephanie.
Not just a leader, but also this crazy persona. Whereas Khan, I don't get a persona so much as just a guy that's probably in a basement, watching a lot of wrestling by himself. Like,
she's cutting deep, guys. She's cutting deep here on the show.
Like, I don't get any persona. I'm like, oh, you're just a fan. Like, okay.
That's true. There's presences and personas by Triple H, Stephanie, Vince, Shane. I mean, even all the GMs have a stronger persona and presence than even Tony Khan. Tony really does seem like, even standing next to Tony Schiavone, he comes off as the lesser than in that dichotomy. And that's a little bit weird. I think it was a misuse of dichotomy. But
like, I don't hate him, but I'm just not interested.
It doesn't bring me in.
He doesn't capture me in any way. He doesn't entertain me. It sounds to me like he's always reading someone else's words, which, I mean, okay, he's doing the best he can, but like, I can walk out of the room and feel like I missed nothing.
Yeah, and I think that's part of my point on that is that it's not that he won't get there eventually or that he doesn't have any possibility of being a presence, but as of right now, these paid advertisements are not bringing me in or making me feel hopeful about anything. Amanda, what do you think?
First of all, these paid advertisements make him look like a douche canoe. Is the first thing that I like to get off of Tony Khan. One thing with Tony Khan that's very interesting.
Can I be frank? Douche canoe.
Douche. Yeah. He just, like, for me, he reminds me of, okay, like, the movie Social Network and how they portray kind of Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. Yeah. Man has a lot of money. I'm not saying Tony Khan is smart. I don't know the guy, so I don't know. But, but he's got his own because of what he's done, he's in this little bubble he's created for himself. And there's an ego. And it's really interesting to me because I met Tony Khan once at PWG. Tony Khan that we're getting in these douchey, like, paid advertisements was not the Tony Khan who was running around PWG. Let me tell you. Because that guy was trying to, like, his shit didn't stink. Like, and I'm like, you're just another one of these fucking suits and you just have all the boys fucking bowing at your feet because you're waving money in front of them. Okay? Because, like, generally, he does have a persona. He's trying to be one of us. Yeah. He's clearly not. Because, and the reason why I say this is because I had a brief conversation. I saw a lot of people go up to him. And I know you PWG regulars, I saw each and every one of you, ass lickers, saw each and every one of you go up to him. And we're like, oh, la, 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 blowing sunshine up his ass.
When you need him.
I know, right? Seriously. And then I'm sitting here like, I got business. Okay, my business was, he's always barking about, they're looking for talent, right? So one of the things I like to do, especially if there's someone that, that I believe in, and if it helps if I'm friends with them too, that I want to, I'm going to name drop. Mm-hmm. And I did that. Not going to say who, but I'm pretty sure, like, Marsh knows. Most people will know who I'm talking about. And he just looked at me like I was some crazy nut. I said, look, you're the one, bro, who wants talent. That's who you got to look at, right? And then it helped that people who were around him, like, he saw me interact with Janela, who I know, and we're friends, and he saw me interact with him, and he saw me interact with, I think, Jeff Cobb, because Jeff Cobb was by him, and he was trying to court Jeff Cobb, and I'm like, you ain't gonna get Jeff Cobb. Jeff loves what he's doing. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and he loves that. He's only bound to Ring of Honor because he has that contract. But the thing is, it's like you're trying to be one of us or one of the boys, and it doesn't work, dude. You come off like a douche. And so that's why these paid advertisements, I'm like, look, you're either buying them or you're not going to buy Impact. Okay? Don't waste our time, because I don't want to watch Impact, to be quite honest. I really don't.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it this week because I didn't want to see another one of these ads.
I don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
They just post the same clips online immediately after. This is best for me.
Exactly. I don't even have anything else. Exactly. And then when someone was saying, oh my God, and someone had posted the ad, and I didn't know it was a new ad. I was like, oh God, why are we regurgitating this again? And I was just like, God, this is just really douchey. Do you think your people who are watching your shit are stupid? Like, come on, bro. Like, no, there's some pretty savvy people. And then you have your groupies, the AEW, like the faithful, who are, oh, like he can do no wrong. I'm like, no, you do a lot of wrong. Because, you know, there's just things like right now, like, you know, there's a lot of things that you do wrong. But like I said, it's just he has a persona, and his persona is trying to be one of us. And it doesn't come off sincere, and it doesn't come off very well. It's like, just do what you got to do, dude. Like, just don't, you know, it's more insulting that you're trying to be, you know, one of us. You can be a fan, that's fine. But the way you're presenting yourself, like the disheveled hair and the, I'm kind of dumb, but, you know, like, no, that's not you, dude. It's like dumbing
Grim's
it
getting
down.
worked. That's the moral of this. Grim's getting worked.
Yeah. So that's why I throw the Con the douche canoe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy into the idea that it's bringing in people. Let's see real quick. Couple things. Kenny Omega, I didn't see the clip, but apparently he attacked Rich Swann. So now we're getting a Kenny and the Good Brothers, so Bullet Club, versus Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann at their pay-per-view January 16th, which is pretty cool. They announced it 4 weeks out or so, 4 or 5. So that means you're going to see a lot of story build, or they're going to ignore it. It's really up to them at this point on how they're going to play that, right? Because you can book a match and just say, yeah, it's going to be there. Or you can book a match and every week give me something that makes me more and more excited for it. And I've seen both things play out in different wrestling companies at different times. So who knows? We'll see what they do. I'm sort of interested on paper, but I sort of also think that just on first glance, it's a big pay-per-view. Your world title and your tag titles are wrapped up in this 6-man tag. And AEW's world title is too, which means that there's going to be no title defenses on their pay-per-view except maybe the X Division Championship and the women's. That kind of bums me out. I like seeing the big titles move around or even be put up on pay-per-views. And that's not to say that WWE doesn't do that too. I mean, just think about TLC even coming up right now. You have Asuka in a tag match, so the women's tag title is not going to be up. But, you know, 2 of the worlds are going to be up. You know, Universal, World, other tags. Like, there's stuff that's up. So it's like, I think that's one benefit of having more titles than 1 or 2. Because they have one story now that's wrapping up like all of them. Was there anything about that segment or that build-up that either you wanted to go in on?
Just, can you handle this? Can you handle this? Can you handle this?
Isn't that Beyonce?
Listen,
Isn't that saying?
It wasn't
Are you saying that
Rich
Kenny
Swann's
Omega's
theme.
too bootylicious?
listen, Rich Swann's theme was a little catchy. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot how bootylicious Rich Swann was.
Yeah, well, you know, it says a lot because the one company it hurts really is Impact.
Yeah.
Because your pay-per-view buys basically are coming from people who only really want to see the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Let's go there because, you know, most people don't know Motor City Machine Guns. If you ask the average AEW fan who that is, you know, unless they watched ROH.
Yeah.
And you don't, and like, certainly, like, if you're only putting your women's title up and what the X Division up, but TJP is the X Division champion. I'm sorry. That it hurts Impact more than anything. So they need to ante up and, you know, make these all for, you know, these for belts, or you're buying them, and this is how you're going to invade your people into their universe. That could be the other thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only other, especially now that you see on AEW this huge tag team revival, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything was a tag match of some sort yesterday, pretty
Yeah.
much. And you're seeing that more often, and you're seeing newer people get the push top flight. You're seeing what is it? That rapper dude. What is it?
Acclaimed.
Let's call it the Acclaimed. I almost called it something else. You see the Acclaimed. They're getting their buzz. Varsity Blondes are getting a huge push. I mean, so it makes me wonder if that's the vehicle to bring them together. So it means we get 4 more weeks of douchey paid ads.
Well, we're going to get a lot of douchey paid ads. Amanda, I am going to railroad you a little bit to kind of expedite us getting to AEW. Grim, was there something about this segment specifically? Because I had a few things I wanted to mention about Kenny Omega and his tweets leading into this thing, and then we're going to talk about the Brandon Cutler JR stuff and then get into AEW.
Please go ahead with our current events.
Okay, so Kenny Omega on Twitter, as does everyone, made his big comments that people say is newsworthy. That is how we have the president that we have until January. Kenny Omega says, after tonight, there's something really bothering me. And I'm going to tell you right now, me dry reading this, because I'm not a good public reader, I don't read out loud well, still more energy
Won't
than
be
Kenny
voice
Omega.
inflections.
Yes, I'm not good at it. I'll do voices.
Okay.
After tonight, there's something really bothering me. That's Kenny. I'm doing a Kenny voice. A question I wish I knew the answer to. I'm doing it because Kevlar says that voice reminds him of Kenny all the time. And I think that it's more energetic than Kenny. But we move on. Why do all your favorites completely fail to move the needle? I feel bad for you guys. The only issue I have with this is, all right, dude, that means you're going to be under scrutiny. People are going to be giving you shit if anything seems off now. That just opens you up. Kenny shouldn't have a Twitter. We've talked about it a bunch of times. Every time he says something on there, it comes off really weird and shitty. It just doesn't make sense, right? So he says this. Your favorites don't move the needle. I do. I don't get it. I feel bad for you. Okay, funny thing. PW Insider, Dirt Sheet Extraordinaire, put out, despite an appearance by Kenny Omega, Impact Wrestling on Access TV audience drops. And they had a couple links in there about the viewership dropping from this week to last. Also, John Pollock then puts this out. Oh, it's a postwrestling.com article. It says AEW finishes 3rd on cable, but experienced several big declines. One of the things that to me I thought was pretty interesting, and we're not big numbers guys and ratings guys. We don't know what it all means, and I think that it's a lot antiquated and bogus and bullshit. But for a company that wants to literally put Demo God on their T-shirts, have a character that comes out and says, well, I'm leading in the demographics, to have Meltzer being who he is to that company, it opens you up to these conversations, which, quite frankly, you shouldn't be talking about, and neither should we. But you want to have the conversation. I thought this was interesting to note from somebody who said they are moving the needle, nobody else is. It was funny to me. That's why I bring it up, not because I'm smart. But it says this. The demographic numbers for AEW didn't paint a great picture, as adults 18 to 34, those are two demographics they use constantly. 18 through 34, AEW always does well in, but the 18 through 49 is one they constantly struggle in. That's why they're always talking about 18 through 34 as being the most favorable when talking about AEW ratings. And I always think that's interesting too, because the couple times that AEW beat the 18 through 49 on Raw, they've brought it up. But every time they lose on it, they say, well, 18 through 34 is more important. And it's really funny to me because it's petty and stupid. And why are you guys talking about this on Twitter? But Pointless Regressing t-shirts available now. Dropped 48% this week. And for a company that's talking about the key demo, I think that's drastic. 48%. It's lowest in that category since November 11th. Men 12 through 34 were down 56%, and its female audience dropped 35%, with the women 18 through 49 and 45.5 with 12 to 34s. So ultimately,
I'll tell you why the women dropped. I'll tell you why.
Because they're all in heels now.
No, I'm not.
I thought they joined heels.
I will tell you, there's 2 words. Why? Ricky Starks. Enough said. Mic drop.
I love it.
It's true. He wasn't on last week.
He wasn't on. And without a Ricky Starks, that place gets dry. Each key demo was down double digits, except for adults over age 50, which grew 3%. The closest category between Raw and AEW this week was among men 18 through 49, and Raw registering a 0.46 and AEW at 0.43. So, all of that to say, Guys, the wrestling business fluctuates, man. People watch some weeks, they don't watch other weeks. There's a whole bunch of things. So when you guys hang your fucking hat every week on these petty numbers and live and die by them that way, when overall the ratings, because this is the other thing, I think overall ratings are way more important than that bullshit, but I'm also not an advertiser, so what the fuck do I know? To quote the great Don Stugotz, listener, friend of the show. Brian Alvarez says, I hate that fucking dude, but still, AEW did 806,000, NXT 766,000, and that's what I'm saying. Bottom line is their average viewership remains about the same all the time, week after week, with fluctuations down to 600 and up to 900. Why open your guys' self up for these kinds of criticisms and these kinds of insanely stupid arguments online with completely uneducated yahoos and drunks like us for no reason? When you can just say, hey, we're doing better overall. It's nice. We're happy about that. Isn't that that's the whole fucking conversation, is it not? Grim, what do you think? Break down those numbers. You're an accountant.
Listen, it's, however you want to slice it and dice it, Jericho comes out, calls himself the demo god, just kind of a bank on that coveted 18 to 49, 18 to 34 demographic. That's always been the big number that, that we want to sink our teeth into here as a company. So, in terms of overall viewership, AEW and NXT, and then you have your Impact as well. It really just, especially for a show like Impact that doesn't garner as much viewership as an NXT or AEW, you have to grab on what you can. You have to give the notoriety of what you can get out of the show. So if you're going to slice and dice and say, well, actually, between 20 and 30-year-olds were the highest in the nation or whatever, just, whatever you need to do to propel or to perpetuate your own show, of course you're gonna manipulate or cast the numbers a certain way so it looks good for your show.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I don't know if that felt like a rant to you guys. It did to me a little bit, but Pointless Aggression t-shirts available at ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestlingOnTheRocks. Amanda, what'd you think of all those numbers? You like them?
It doesn't mean shit, but if you really want to know, fact, I have some proof to my Ricky Starks comment.
Okay, let's do it.
Is, if I'm not mistaken, best ratings, one of the best ratings they've ever had, and this was going on during the NBA fucking finals. I hate basketball, but the NBA finals was the Darby Allin Ricky Starks match. They had the best ratings of probably any of the shows they've done. Period. What does that tell you? Well, Omega's not bringing those numbers in. Maybe Sting brought them in when that episode, but I don't even think they had a million viewers. No. But they did for that one particular match. They did.
Yeah.
And nothing except for the Sting thing maybe has touched it since. And that was back in
that
September.
Didn't get anywhere near what Bayley and Sasha were doing on their side.
No.
The point being that I do agree. I do agree, though, that people are talking about Ricky and saying, hey, you got to watch this guy, or hey, Ricky's on, go ahead and turn it on. But they are flipping off right after.
Oh, yeah. Because, okay, here's the thing. The guy's a good looking dude. The guy has charisma. The guy's on the mic. Yeah. He's cool. When he's not there, when he's not, he's like the king of DARPA. Who the fuck is you looking at YouTube for, views? Oh, yeah. Nobody, I mean, because look at, I'll use the example of Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai was originally on YouTube TV. And, they got greedy. They wanted money. Where'd they go? They went to the fucking big bad Netflix and they got some money. So what does it really mean at the end of the day? It doesn't matter who's king or whatever, but it's like, if you want to have people be invested, I'm sorry, don't put Chris Jericho on commentary, because I'm going to turn that shit off right away. It's going to be obnoxious.
Okay, I'm gonna railroad you again.
I know.
We gotta stay on track a little bit.
So Amanda, you're not gonna watch on December 30th. That's what you're saying?
I will watch, but with no volume.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, well, the minute he starts getting obnoxious, I'll turn off.
I turn it down too. I'm gonna be honest. I definitely turn it down.
Yeah. Yells for no reason.
But I do think that when they open themselves up to this kind of criticism, then it brings out the worst in what's already a pretty shitty back and forth already on the internet. Because here's the deal. The whole point of this thing is to show, and hopefully the idea is that we all disagree enough that we can have an interesting conversation about trying to convince each other why something's actually good when one of us didn't like it. But we're just buddies having drinks, talking wrestling, and at the end of the day, we leave it that way, and we remain that way. This like weird, petty, your faves don't move the needle just brings out this weird ratings fucking yelling from people who don't know what they're fucking talking about, and people reporting it like they do. Because you've opened yourselves up to like the weirdest, shittiest dialogue. I think that was like the first bad step they made was when they really started bringing in Meltzer and the ratings. I'm like, well,
Dave doesn't know. Dave barely knows what he's talking about with wrestling sometimes.
I don't disagree, but
I've seen him fall asleep plenty of times being at matches. I've seen him at shows where he's fallen asleep. And then I'm like, how does he write some of these articles? The man was asleep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, and he's also written articles with shows he wasn't at. But that's all neither here nor there. All I'm saying is Twitter's kind of fucking crazy already. Let's drop the ratings thing and move on and just talk about, like, I do find it interesting knowing about how many people are watching overall. But this breakdown, these numbers, like Grim said, fuck off with all that. That's none of any of our business. That's for the advertisers and the networks alone, because those are the only people affected by that shit.
And the other thing it should affect is the boys and girls and the kind of money that they make.
Sure.
So if they have a contract, and they should be able to use that as their leverage of, hey, I'm bringing people watching my ass. You need
sure,
to show
but I
me
don't understand contracts, so
well,
here we are.
You know, if people are watching you, you know, and they're coming just to see you because they're turning the channel right after it, then that says, I'm bringing people to come to your product. I'm sorry if it sucks if after I'm done they're changing the channel, but that's what it should do. And I don't know anything about contracts either, but you would think. I do that at work where I'm like, hey, I brought you this.
Yeah.
You should give me more money because I consistently bring it.
Leverage is always good for the boys and ladies in the back. Grim, you had mentioned the Brandon Cutler thing and JR's back and forth a little. Well, I mean, they didn't really have a back and forth so much as JR said something online or on his podcast, and Brandon Cutler came back with some smart ass shit right after. Did you have that handy? Because I know we talked about it last week because it happened just before the last show. Or no, it couldn't have because it was happening for this Inner Circle match. When the fuck did we just briefly talk about it?
We talked something else about Brandon Cutler.
Was it something else? I don't know. That
it was it was Brandon Cutler responded back to what JR said, made a comment about it. So I think it's Wardlow, right? That's
I think
who's Wardlow?
So.
Wardlow is Brandon Cutler, right?
No.
Wait, I'm sorry. I think I'm mixed up too. Well, Brandon Cutler was actually taken out of the match today because of him. I think it was. Was
he taken out of the match? I'm going to be honest with you. That Inner Circle match, I did not get to see. There was a bunch of stuff happening in my personal life, and I was not available for it. And I did not get the chance to watch it today, although I intended to. I saw the very, very end, the absolute finish. So you guys walk me through that one a little bit. I'll find it here.
Yep. So no, actually what happened was because it was supposed to be a 14-man, but Brandon Cutler was absent from this week's taping because and Wardlow. Well, they took Wardlow out of the match, so they said Wardlow had a family matter and he couldn't be a part of the match tonight, so they made it a 12-man instead.
Okay.
So everyone's thinking that he was paired up with storyline-wise, it wouldn't make sense for him to be in the match. But AEW, actually, they didn't even say it on commentary that he wasn't even there. So everyone's kind of like, maybe because he opened his mouth, this is kind of a punishment kind of thing, unspeakable, if you will. We're not even going to bring him up. And then they just took Wardlow out of the match just to make it 6-on-6.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
You know, the other way, if you want to punish someone too, you can also stop his winning streak.
Well, his winning streak
You're
was
probably going to end that too. doesn't matter. He was like, I didn't win anything until recently, and all of a sudden, no, he's won 5.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So it doesn't, and so this goes to show you, it doesn't matter who you are tight with, because obviously, he's
best friends with Young Bucks.
Yeah.
That's how he got his job. That's part of his story.
Yeah.
And I've said it from the beginning that was the most devastating storyline I'd ever heard, where he comes in and he goes, oh, he quit the business like 6 years ago, but the Young Bucks convinced him to come back and follow his dreams. It's like, that's not uplifting. Please don't repeat that. But they said it like twice.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amanda. Continue.
Yeah, it's sad. But no, I mean, the one, I think, and also it was really, I never understood why he was in that match anyway, but I think it was probably because they needed a singles wrestler, because they had an odd number of people in the inner circle. So, yeah. Why Wardlow has to get punished for this, I don't know, but not like Wardlow really. I don't think he does anything. But
no, Wardlow didn't. No, that was the combination there. Just that, to have him stand out there and not be in the match would actually have brought a light to. Wait a minute, where's Brandon Cutler?
Yeah, or Wardlow would have just stood there and stared at Jake Hager, and Jake Hager would have stared at him, even though they still don't stare at each other.
Let's see. So if you didn't listen to the show the other day, I'll read it again real quick here. JR said on his podcast, all you guys go outside. He said this to someone in the back at AEW. He said, all you guys go outside, you cluster up like quail. You stand there in a huddle, friends and foes together, side by side, so you can catch some leaping idiot going over the top who never wins with this move. They're looking for that holy shit chant. They love to hear this as awesome. It's a spot, folks. It's a trapeze act, and I don't buy into that. Brandon Cutler then goes online and shows the image of the 14 people match and says, this Wednesday on Dynamite, 7 versus 7, we're going to go outside, cluster up like coils, stand there in a huddle, friends and foes together, side by side to catch some leaping idiot going over the top. Can't wait. Hopefully for 1 million viewers. Let's fucking go. But it was not for 1 million viewers, for one. Then Dax goes on and says, imagine not listening to criticism from the men and women who shaped our profession and paved a road that allows you to make a living today, all because they hurt your feelings. And I don't see the other one, but there was one more mention about one of the, it's not in this one, but that was the crux of what was going on there. Grim, was there something else in there that you wanted to throw out?
I just want to say, I think that, of course, now everyone's blowing this up. So now I think something like next week, like on BTE or something like that, like JR and Brandon Cutler will make like a joke about it or something. Like they'll try to be like, oh no, we're cool, like just kind of keep it moving, because the last thing AEW needs right now is backstage heat issues that we're all not, in it together. Like they're still making this, AEW still has this reputation, or at least trying to build this reputation, that everyone works well together. Everybody wants to see everyone succeed, or everyone like this, the corporate tagline, if you will. So to have this grilling in the background, not pun intended, just get this over with. Just make fun of it. Oh no, it's fine, or whatever. Because JR's gonna come on his next grilling JR or something and say, well, I don't have power like that to make somebody disappear out of thin air on TV. But just they're gonna play this down completely and just try to move past this.
Yeah, I agree too. And also, who the fuck cared if Brandon Cutler was gonna be on the show? No one knows who he is. You know what I mean?
No.
He's been on Dynamite like week 1 and week 2, and then's been on Dark ever since. And his whole thing is he's trying to bridge the gap between Dungeons and Dragons and wrestling. And I'll pull back the curtain of the old Marsh lifestyle. I play in 2 different groups of D&D on both Saturday and Sunday. So if I'm not watching wrestling, I'm probably playing D&D. And I think Brandon Cutler's entire gimmick is fucking stupid. And I'm his target audience. So just throwing that out there. I don't think he's bridging that gap or creating that bridge like he said. Amanda, go ahead.
He thinks. But what's really funny to me is because, okay, your besties are the Bucks, okay, for years. All these spot monkeys and all the criticism that they've got. One would think that because, he's heard that too. And, obviously, they don't care, that's what they do, and that's how they've made their money. why should Brandon Cutler like care? Sorry, is it
Yeah.
because you suck? Is it because really you're only there because your friends are there? It's like, dude, you should just be happy that they didn't forget who their friends were and brought them along. Okay,
Yeah.
you should be happy about that. And it's like, closed mouths don't get fed. Now you're not going to get. You need to shut your mouth because people now are going to be all, dude. No.
Yeah.
They're like, no, because if you're going to complain about something like this, who's to say that if there's something that's more of an issue that you're not going to go run your mouth?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that more than anything, that's really kind of like, oh, so
Yeah, you got to be
that's how you want
political.
to handle stuff. Yeah,
You have to be political. He's not a name. Like if he were I don't know, I'm just going to say, if he were like Moxley and Moxley did this, yeah, okay, yeah. You're someone of importance. You can have a voice.
yeah,
You're just somebody's friend. You came in because you're riding someone's coattail. They wanted you to come along because they're succeeding, and that's
yeah, they
how they
asked
roll.
you to come make money and do this thing that you
Yeah,
quit a long
yeah.
time
So
ago.
be grateful.
Here's the thing: do you want to
Close
make your
your mouth.
name? Do you want to be famous as the dude who was fucking shitty to Jr.? Because that's gone over well in the past.
Yeah. No.
I mean, that's all I had to say about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Unless there's something we missed there. I know Grim wanted to hit on that just a little bit. I didn't realize that Cutler was actually removed from the match, though, ultimately, which is, to me, phenomenal. Because I'm here for the petty shit. I love it. Let's
Being
get petty.
There's a lot of petty shit today.
There's a lot of petty shit in this one. Guys,
Mm-hmm.
this whole show was petty as fuck. Oh, my God. Let's see. So how was that match in and of itself without Wardlow and Brandon Cutler?
It was fine. I mean, it was one of the better multi-man matches I've seen in a while. We haven't had 10, 12, 8-man tags in a long time on wrestling TV, so it was good. It was better. We'll call it more of an organized battle royal, if you will. I really do like, though, at the end to show solidarity with the inner circle and everything. Jake Hager did his finisher, and instead of him taking the pin, he tagged in MJF. MJF's like, oh, let me get the tag. He gets the tag in, and MJF does the pin to win the match. So Hager gave up the pin to MJF, kind of working on that cohesion factor with the inner circle.
All right.
And what I got out of it, the most important thing is it really I think it really paid attention to Top Flight is going to be really phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they're going to be amazing to watch. That was huge for them. I personally will say that I think that they're better than Private Party.
Yeah, I actually
Talent-wise, the whole packaging, I think, Private Party right now to me is just kind of jokey, whatever. But also not only that too, but also that Varsity Blondes, Pillman and Griff, man, whoever put that together, bra fucking vo, because those two together, solid. I really enjoy watching those two, and I think those were the really big takeaways from that particular.
My only critique for Griff is he needs to cut his fucking hair.
Mullet!
He can't go around looking like giant Jungle Boy, fucking up with Jungle Boy's whole gimmick.
Well, now he looked last night because Jericho had his hair in that little bun with the straggly, just like how Griff does it now.
Oh yeah.
They look like father and son.
Ugh,
So I thought you'd probably appreciate it because it was like father-son night at AEW. But we'll get into that. But yeah, I had to laugh because I'm like, okay, you're looking like his father now, like your father and son over here. Griff, just get the mullet, please. That'd be just amazing.
Yeah.
Then you're not gonna look like Jungle Boy, like a big version of Jungle Boy.
Oh, for sure. Let's see. Since I didn't see it, I have a lot to say about that in and of itself. There was a few things that were. I did like Dasha's interview with Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes is just fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
He's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm liking that he gets to be himself and not that weird gold dust and doing all this.
He's still
shit.
being kind of gold dusty, and I like it.
Yeah, but not like not
He
like
barks still.
Yeah, but that whatever, But I mean, he doesn't do that weird, Yeah, that's always kind of creepy to me.
Grim.
Overall, again, setup for the match was good. The 12-man was good.
Yeah.
I wanted to just roll into real quick. Speaking of so the Dustin Runnels interview, awesome. I mean, I always like seeing just even at towards the end of his WWE run, like his R-Truth run and all of that, like just I really always liked Dustin Runnels even from the beginning. Early days of Goldust and all that, just always solid. But speaking of someone who's just always has a place in my heart is Matt Hardy. Like doesn't matter where he goes or what he does, what matches he's in, what he's doing. I'm always hooked in because the first match of the night was the 6-man tag.
Yep.
And just I like Matt Hardy because the ring general stuff, keeping the match going. Again, it was a solid. Again, just like earlier on, another multi-man match, tag match, 6-man tag. It was well put together. Matt Hardy and Private Party, or the Hardy Party, whatever you wanted to call them. Team to it's a solid match for what it was all the way around.
Okay. Did you enjoy the Hangman Page Dark Order stuff? I'm really surprised this is where we have Hangman Page right now. I do know that. I mean, it just seems like obvious to everybody who I see talk about it or watch the show or otherwise that Kenny being the champion is just waiting for Hangman to take the championship off of Kenny. But everyone thinks it's going to be 6 months to a year down the line. So that puts Page in a weird spot. Like, what do you do with him? But I feel like that he's been on this steep decline ever since he tagged with Kenny. Like, Omega goes on to become the big star of it, and Kenny did not seem to get much of a shine out of being a tag champion during all that, and now he's goofing off with the Dark Order. I just don't think I'm feeling that pairing, and I'd like to see him branch out into literally almost anything else. Like, if he went towards the TNT title and even went on a TNT title reign where he was just doing the open challenge and just solidifying himself as a force, I think I'd be more interested in that than to see him goofing off with John Silva.
I think it's setting itself up for something big.
Do you think it is?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, I hope. But
okay, well, there's that, yeah.
I hope, but one of these days you can hear that little piano, that one note of piano, and I'm gonna I'll be dead on the floor. Like, seriously, I'll be in a ball. I'll be crying. But I don't know. It's just setting itself up for Marty. I'm sorry. It's gunning that way because Dark Order is a weird thing now. Like, what happened to Brody Lee?
Yeah.
Anybody know? Is he injured? Is under contract? Because it almost seems like they don't talk about him anymore.
Yeah, he just vanished.
Yeah. He loses to Cody and then he's gone. It's like, okay, well, what happened to him? He's got his minions down here that all they're doing is, it seems like the spokesperson of Dark Order now is Evil Uno. Yeah. He's the one running the show.
It's Uno or John Silver.
No, John Silver's just obnoxious. He wants everyone to know that he's hunky and he's got big arms. That's all he does. Yeah. And then, again, another dad reference. I don't know if you caught it, but I did. Cole Cabana, the soccer dad, PE teacher. It's like, what is the dad? The AEW has daddy issues. So,
AEW has daddy issues.
They have daddy issues. Yeah. And I'm like, but it's weird. Dark Order is one of these weird things of, I love, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. I love those two. I've always liked them as a team. But it's like, what are you doing? Like, they have a pretty good thing going with Anna Jay. I still don't understand with what's her face? What, Tia Conti or whatever, like how she fits in, because they don't really.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit like a mess.
Yeah, and so
they both won last night on Dark, or 2 nights ago on Dark. They both won their matches, so
Anna Jay,
they're trying to build them up. Yeah, Conti and
Oh.
Anna Jay won.
Yeah.
Dude, my biggest problem with Anna Jay is that she's so open about having never wrestled. I just wish she would keep it to herself. She's like, oh, my 6th match ever in actual professional wrestling, and it was a championship title match. I'm like, relax. There's people who've been doing this for fucking a decade.
Yeah,
Quit
I'm
telling
pretty
people
sure
you made it on national TV before you ever wrestled.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some women who are like,
yeah, what the fuck?
What the fuck, right? Yeah.
Grim, what did you think about Hangman Page and Dark Order?
still, again, wait and see attitude.
Wait and see.
I
Gotcha.
I agree with you, Amanda. I think it's going to be something big. Could you see it as a, no, I'm not going to join. I'm not going to join. And then when he does get into the world title picture or a title like TNT title, whatever it is, he's going to sell out maybe into the Dark Order to win the championship or something, like use them. I mean, Adam Page is good right now on his current trajectory, but in order for him to join the Dark Order, do you think it's a heel thing? Like, does he have to turn bad to win the championship? Now, Kenny Omega's bad right now. I don't know, maybe a TNT title reign, like, because Darby Allin's a good guy now. Maybe you have Adam Page turn bad on him and join the Dark Order that way and give the TNT title a little prestige that way. Just, I see there's going to be a big-time transition in Adam Page's character as he moves along with the Dark Order. I think you're right, Amanda. This story is not done. It's going to develop from here.
I like that more than because I couldn't think of a way, any direction that made me remotely interested. But both those options sound all right, Yeah,
so. But Hangman, though, I don't think he's going to be around a belt anytime soon. And because there's just it's too stacked. And
first one.
I know, but I mean, it makes me always go back to thinking the what if he didn't go to AEW and he didn't join them? I mean, he would have been the world champ over at Ring of Honor. I'm pretty sure he would have, because he was he was becoming king over there. But again, I mean, it's going to be something big, and in a way, it's like I'd rather see him involved in something big that we can see him more on TV than have one of these belts that really don't mean anything.
Yeah,
because like I don't get the TNT belt anymore.
Well,
never
they have to make it mean something. It's just right now it's just a thing. The
Not
FTW
who
belt
it's
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, not who it's on right now. If
Exactly.
it wasn't on Darby, I don't think they really want it on Darby, to be quite honest, because he would be defending it more often.
Yeah, I think something's up with that. Because I think Darby is great in highlighted specialty type scenarios, and I think he's not a week to week kind of character the same way. So it does put a weird little bit about the TNT title. I do like Darby a lot though. After that,
I'm not saying I don't. Yeah.
Oh yeah. After that, we did get the announcement: Brandy Rhodes is pregnant, assumingly Cody Rhodes' child. I'm kidding. It's Cody's kid.
Are you gonna tell me it was Shaq's or something? Come on. That's why Jade Cargill's all up in a tizzy.
Yeah, that's why Jade's all pissed, because she got that icy hot.
Well, I guess we're not gonna be. Seeing any more of that.
Yeah, so that's they put a kibosh on that real fast.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I mean, congratulations to the couple. They seem very happy. It seems like something they wanted.
Yes,
and I always say
indeed.
congratulations to families that seem to want the families.
Yes.
I always wait to find out, though. When people say they're pregnant, I just wait. I go, are you excited by this or terrified? And when they say they're excited, I say, congratulations, then.
Now, I know we have a pregnancy announcement, which is great. Congratulations to Cody and Brandy. I'm with them 100%. But I don't know. You go the announcement of the pregnancy versus the Inner Circle receiving the best performance of 2020 from the New York Times for Dinner Debonair. I don't know which way we can go with this, folks, but I don't know which way the wind blows, right? You got to help me out with this.
I'll help you out right now. The Inner Circle didn't win shit. MJF was touted as not embarrassing himself. Let me find you the quote right now. The article about best performance of 2020 about MJF was crazy weird because it legit. That's where I would have had it. I'll look it up right now. It was 100% just saying like how bad the segment was, and then the nicest thing it says is that MJF did not embarrass himself. I'm like, that's our benchmark for best of the year.
But didn't we say that though?
What do you mean? Yeah.
When we talked about it, didn't we say that it was horrible? And that, because we were, I think, the only people who just absolutely hated that.
Yeah, we were not thrilled
Everyone
about that.
thought
Here
it
it
was
is. Right. I'm going to read it to you because it's a really short snippet that they wrote about him. It said, Maxwell Jacob Friedman doing Me and My Shadow on All Elite Wrestling. That's the headline of that moment. Jericho not mentioned yet. Here's what it says. Some weeks the athleticism at this professional wrestling startup is more exciting than anything happening in Vince McMahon's empire. So immediately they're hate fucking Vince McMahon. They can't get a sentence out without talking about Vince McMahon. People who watch AEW and love it because it's not Vince McMahon are the most annoying ones to me. Because you're not liking it because of your fandom. You're liking it because of your hatred. And that's weird. It is a weird, awkward thing to do. People who just love AEW because they love AEW and they love wrestling, those are the fans I like. Those are the ones that I think are dope. But people whose response to everything is, well, it's not Vince because fuck him. Or Vince is going to hate this, fuck him. I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyways, I digress. Pointless Chris t-shirts available now. And no one in WWE has this kid's combination of diction, Juilliard by way of Long Island, intensity, or cheesiness either. So shitting on the entire WWE roster, saying that none of them can speak like MJF. I don't think I agree, but to each their own. Even when Friedman's lost his cool, his nom de ring is MJF, so immediately I know this guy's a douchebag. He still has astounding control because he thinks that the guy's actually losing control, I think. This guy's getting worked, too. Sorry for I'm narrating this as I go through. Is that all right, Grim?
Oh, yeah, go crazy.
The character is part heel, part tool, hair gel, loafers, Burberry bling, tacky, and part Goodfellow wannabe. His mouth does more running than he does. For reasons only the producers of the show can explain, a long segment in October between MJF and the veteran Chris Jericho culminated in a version of Me and My Shadow, complete with dancing women and live singing. It was less than spectacular, though not for anything Friedman did. He wasn't embarrassed at all. Those are the nicest things it says about it. He was smooth in a way that should worry Ric Flair. This kid makes you want to say woo. That's the whole thing. So that's it. That's
things that make you go woo.
Yeah,
Things
make
that
you
make
say
you go
woo.
woo.
Like, get the fuck out of here. But, I mean, let's be fucking honest. Let's be real. It literally says MJF is very good at speaking, literally speaking. His diction is on point, and his verbal is unwavered, out of control. That's what it's saying. He literally can speak well. And then, for reasons only the producers of the show can explain, saying, for no fucking reason at all, and nobody knows why, it broke out into song in a performance that was, quote, less than spectacular. This isn't good. This is bad. But MJF did not embarrass himself. Therefore, best performance of 2020. What the fuck? Like, I was so confused when I read this. This is by New York Times.
Performance. What's your being compared to?
Yeah. Right.
Hold on.
Who was in the running? That's
Yeah, no, I don't have performance of what?
Yeah. Look at this. Jessica Francis Dukes and Mary Louise Burke from season 3 of Ozark. I'll tell you right now, it doesn't say fucking didn't embarrass themselves. Here's the deal. If the best of 2020 is not embarrassing yourself, fuck. First off, you want to talk not embarrassing themselves? Why are you not talking about Jey Uso? But here's the deal. New York Times doesn't talk about wrestling. New York Times doesn't like wrestling or respect wrestling. It's silly, goofy, dumb shit that only idiots, quote, believe in. You know what I mean? They're not watching it because it's wrestling. They saw a song and dance thing and thought, well, one guy in here is not a total fucking embarrassment. Let's put him at best of the year for all of things wrestling. That's what they're trying to encompass, the wrestling fan. Or someone at New York Times, which is very, very possible because the kid's from Long Island, is fucking friends with MJF.
Mm.
And you know who's got a really big pocketbook? Who knows
Or
MJF? Who maybe could sway that? Just a thought.
I know, it sounds like a paid advertisement from Tony Khan. It's kind of douchey.
You could have read that on Impact. Pointless aggression T-shirts available now. Continue, Amanda.
No. I don't understand what they're comparing it to, but okay, whatever. I thought he printed that plaque himself just because they needed a gag or something.
There is no reason for any of us, Grim, correct me if I'm wrong, to believe otherwise. I highly doubt New York Times sent out plaques to people.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll take it. Figured in the moment.
Unless it came with a subscription, and run a nice little article about you online, which doesn't really matter. It doesn't count. It's like ratings. No one fucking cares.
It's like, whose line is it anyways? I was saying that when he first started. I called it, whose rating is it anyways? That's what I first started with. Well, I mean, we've had a lot of episode 1s, but one of my episode 1s, that's what I said. Whose rating is it anyways? The points don't matter.
Yeah. So this plaque shouldn't matter.
It doesn't. And that was a horrible review for anything. Grim, now that you've heard it, what do you think about MJF being touted as Best Performer of the Year 2020 by New York Times?
You know what? It's a well-deserved award, and he's going to win it again next year. He's going to take it next year, baby. Woo!
He's got it. Back to back.
Just like that ring.
Yes.
Just say it's his.
Just like the ring.
Just like
Sorry, I pissed off the producer. I woke her up. She hates that.
Uh-oh, sorry.
Now, speaking of performers that want to, kind of, that made an impact for this year, the next segment or the next, match, I mean, you have Cody versus Angelico.
Yes.
And then after the match is kind of the driver of this segment. But in terms of the match, because there were, Sting coming out again and everything, we'll get to that in a second. But, a solid match between Cody and Angelico. I think Cody has been, he's been in that, I think 2020 for Cody, 2019, he had to put himself out there, he's putting the company together, putting the company on his back, at least in his mind he is. He was at the forefront of a lot of the, the main feuds and everything. But 2020 for Cody, I mean, him, having the TNT championship and, just like kind of, I don't want to say he stayed in the mid card mostly, but he kind of was just like the, the catalyst to get, people up to the top or staying in the middle and all of that. I mean, I think that's a good role for Cody right now. And for him to have, and to stay in that role, just to drive storylines and push, like he's working with Sting right now and Darby Allin and everything. So, he had a good work match with Angelico to, nice finish at the end, the jump off the top rope into the cutter. That was nice. But just overall, though, I think the Cody Rhodes right now in his current role, I like it. I'm for it right now.
I love Cody right now and what he's doing. I wish his tattoo placement was different. However, I really enjoy all of the stuff he's putting out there. I do have a quick question for both of you. There was an argument online, and I do like to address arguments online because they make me laugh, because Twitter's not real, in case people haven't figured that out yet. The one that's been making me laugh lately is the video they put out with Brandy and Cody tacky or not tacky? My personal feeling was I thought it was nice and well done. I would have really liked it if it was on social media. I thought it was weird being on national TV, and I think part of that was my own personal bias going into it, because Brandy's been given such free reign to shoehorn into everything and to put on so many clear vanity project videos that as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, what are we doing? What is this thing now with her? And then it was like a baby announcement, and I went, oh, well, that's nice for them. But did it have to be this way? And that's how I felt about it, and I felt bad about that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that everything she says and does has to be done in this way, to where it just, nothing comes off as sincere anymore and just comes off as kind of vain. And then this morning they released a Little Nightmare onesie, which PWTs doesn't have onesies. And I know the comparison.
No, they do.
Where's their onesies? I've never seen a onesie. Do they have them?
They had a couple. They had a line that was a lot of the wrestlers, a lot of them were as children, like babies, and it was a kids line.
I
Because
saw
they
the
have
baby
my
shirts. I
favorite
didn't see onesies.
No, but they made onesies though. It was an
All right.
option that you can
All right.
use. Because one of my friends, she was having a baby and she loves Marty, and I got her the villain in training because it's cute little baby with his
Okay.
freaking like doctor mask on. I mean, come
All right.
on.
All right.
Okay,
No, I'll give you
but-
that. I'll give you that.
but they
so
did-
then,
they
then
did.
all I'll
They
do
did.
is defend the argument then that because people were
But
saying,
it's
oh,
douchey to all of a sudden put one out, a little onesie and little nightmare.
it was
little
pretty
douche.
immediate. And I will say that the Becky Lynch stuff came a little bit after. It was a announcement felt a little more sincere. This wasn't like the Maurice coming out with a microphone and saying, I'm pregnant, I'm leaving, and bye. They literally did this video package. Then Brandy walks out, gets into the ring, kisses Cody, stands around until Angelico comes in, and then leaves the ring. And I felt like that was a little more grandiose than it needed to be too. But it's just coming off in a it just felt weird, and I think people were trying to pinpoint it. But I will say the difference with the WWE stuff, even with the Canellises and all them, is it's typically somebody standing far away from the ring, saying it on a mic as an announcement and an explanation of why I'm disappearing. And WWE's had a line of onesies for a number of years because I've gotten them for my nieces and nephews in the past. And so when they did the Ma and the Man and stuff like that, that stuff was already there. They just put the logo on it. So to me, it wasn't as weird. It was just seemed like, almost business as usual. But the way that WWE presented it looked like there was so much money and production behind it. And I think the reason it feels weird is because there's not that much production behind all the things they do with the talent as well. And maybe that just comes off weird. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm happy for the people and happy for the family. And I thought the video was very, very nice. But I do understand where people are coming off feeling a little bit weird about it. Amanda, I'll let you start with it, and then we'll throw it to Grim and see what he thinks.
I'll tell you, I didn't think it was very appropriate at all. The whole thing I don't think is very appropriate. The video, again, like when I saw her, I'm like, fuck. God, Brandy's doing something stupid, or or God, what's it now? Shaq gonna come out, that was like, I turned my attention away. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think I left the room. I left my desk and whatever.
I looked down. I had to go rewatch the video. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I saw
I went back to watch it, and I was like, oh. And then when I watched it back, and I was like, oh, little Gucci boxes, little Gucci shoes. I said, oh, is this gonna? It's like, fuck, is this gonna be a joke? And like Ricky's gonna do something, because obviously, his little Gucci loafers and people, whatever, right? So, but I was like, this is not appropriate, because if it were anybody else on the roster, it wouldn't have gotten the same type of treatment. However,
it wouldn't.
The other thing was, it was very big. It's very big ego with both of them.
Yeah.
I thought, and I was just like, man, hopefully this means that, as he prepares for fatherhood, he'll kind of take more of his EVP role and not be on TV and let other people shine for a little bit, and then the other thought in my head was, God forbid he has a fucking son. God forbid fucking Renee and Mox have a son. Oh God, what is this going to be? Like baby battle 2023, I'm like, God damn, no, this is just bad. Like, no, because I already can feel the money, the dollar signs, like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching in his head. And I'm like, God. So now that you told me about the onesies, that really irritates me. So now they're going to have baby track suits now. Nightmare Family little baby track suits, for mom, dad, and baby. Like what else are you gonna do? It's kind of douchey. And again, I'm just like, that was not handled well. I think WWE, anytime there was someone who has had a baby and stepping away, or not even stepping away, because she really didn't say she was stepping away. Okay. It's like, oh, we're having a baby, and it's gonna be really obnoxious. And they're gonna do an obnoxious baby shower on TNT.
It did feel more insincere than a lot of the other announcements you get on WWE.
Yeah.
They do feel sincere, and I'll give you that. I do want to say real quick in the chat, Shake Gently is really devastated by finding out Twitter's not real. It says Twitter's not real and says fuck, and there's a lot of cry emojis, and I apologize for breaking that fourth.
It is real. No, they're on Market and 7th Street in San Francisco. It is real.
You can
I can't
go to
guarantee.
Twitter.
Yeah, you can go to Twitter. They have a cool lunchroom, but public one and a private one. But the public one's pretty cool. But it is real. Some of the people, no, probably not.
Grim, what did you think about it?
So, for me, first off, just let's go to the level of, hey, good for anybody, who wants to have a family, just go team go, good for you, all good health, all well wishes. Okay. Now, when we look at baby announcements in wrestling, my connection is the storyline payoff or the storyline connection, right? So, for example, Becky Lynch saying that she was pregnant. The Money in the Bank briefcase was actually the Raw Women's Championship she gave that Asuka won. It was to drive the story. Well, you go be champion and I'm going to be a mother.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was like, oh, congratulations. Da, da, da. I think they did a backstage thing real quick, but it was like, done. Okay, yep. This was because it's part of the storyline. When the whole thing with Maurice and The Miz, when Maurice is like, well, I'm pregnant and I'm leaving. That's a part of Miz's persona. Everything's on TV, the Miz and Mrs. show, and oh, we're gonna have a baby. We're gonna have the most beautiful baby ever. I have my baby in my arms in the ring. You're not even gonna see the baby's face. That's how beautiful my baby is. Like just that, again, in storyline. So just kind of moving along with also even when Jon Moxley said in his promo a couple weeks ago, I'm gonna be a dad. And that was just he kept moving on. It wasn't like this big thing about him having a baby. I think that this vignette here that we went through, hey, congratulations to the Rhodes family. They're going to have a baby, a beautiful kid. Good. That's awesome. What's the next step? Yes, they did come out onto the ramp then, and they're like, oh, yay. Arn Anderson's like, yeah, you're pregnant. Yeah, okay. But just where's that next chapter with announcing it? Like, just what's the wrestling connection to what's going to happen next? That's just my feel on it.
That's
And
a good point. All those other ones had a connection where this maybe the reason people are up in arms about it or being divisive on it is because it is a little sore thumbish because it didn't fit a storyline. Those other ones were because with Becky, how do you explain the title disappearing? You know what I mean? You have to say something.
Yeah.
Amanda, go ahead.
Also, I was going to say the other uproar, going back to what you were saying about Mox, and it was in a promo. A lot of people were like, well, Mox announced his in a promo, and Cody gets this like freaking vignette. Like I saw a lot of that, and I'm like, well, duh, he's the EVP, duh. I mean, hello. I mean, I'm pretty sure, he'll go on everyone's vlog. I'm sure he's going to go on Guevara's next week, and you're going to hear about the baby. I'm pretty sure on BTE he'll find his way in, so everyone knows he has a baby.
Yeah. Well, I will say that it is a bit of a bummer for such a nice, positive thing that it's gotten backlash.
And I'm not saying that I'm not happy for them. That's
I know 100%. I'm on the same page as you. Yeah. I'm super happy for them, but I also understand, that there was an obnoxious thing behind it. I felt bad that as much as I personally kind of agreed with it, when a lot of people were all like, well, at least you won't be on TV for a while. I was like, well, I feel shitty because I agree with them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad about it. Like, but it's like, I do feel bad in that regard that it is such a nice positive thing, and it's done in such a way that it opened itself up for this negative criticism, and that's just a bummer for them. But I just thought it was kind of also an interesting topic that there was this back and forth, so I just wanted to see what you guys felt on it. But I do agree.
We'll see her because we need to see how Brandy walks in heels with a baby bump. Because that's the other one. Other thing people were asking, is she going to wear heels? I'm like, of course.
She has to.
She has to. It's her thing.
I did agree with Grim, though. Cody Rhodes and Helico was actually, I was expecting it to be okay. I thought it was going to be a decent match because I like both those guys. And I think it actually was really good. I think it was really good.
Mm-hmm. Better than I thought it would be.
Let's see.
We need more TH2.
And then Sting!
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Hello, the daddy issues. Why are you skirting that, Marsh? Come on.
I almost skirted it. Oh my God. So Taz and their crew comes out. They say their thing, and then the lights go out. A shitload of snow falls down in Florida, and Sting walks out, and so here's the deal with Taz, dude, and his Brian Cage with the FTW title, which he awarded to the toughest SOB in all of pro wrestling. And the whole crew is supposed to be the toughest, baddest motherfuckers in all of pro wrestling. That's how they tout themselves. And Sting walks out, and they're ghost every time.
No.
I told you, I want that power. I told you last week, Sting made the bad guys disappear. This week, all he has to do is walk out. Yes, he has a old baseball bat with him. People freeze in their tracks and back away. I want those powers.
No, Will Hobbs was not backing away. Powerhouse Hobbs. He was trying to go forward. Ricky's like, no. Yeah, no.
They did call that one out, yeah.
But also going back to Cage, when they were going to go jump Cody, Cage wasn't moving. No. His ass wasn't going anywhere. He was just standing right there next to Taz because it was Ricky leading the charge with Hook and then Hobbs like right behind. So it was. I think
it's because he knew the next spot, but that's just me.
No, because really, let's be real with Brian Cage. Love Brian Cage to death, but no, he's a real he's really the puss of that little faction. Let's go there. He is.
Yeah, well.
Of the three,
he's not portrayed as otherwise. I want to disagree with you, but that's kind of how he's being shown. Grim, go ahead.
He is.
I was gonna say the commentary tried to do some patchwork on that. Just like you're saying, some wanted to fight Sting, but then they're like, well, Taz with his experience, he knows Sting with a baseball bat is they tried to kind of make discretion's better part of valor or whatever. Just let's pull back and so again, just kind of given the they're not totally cowering away, but live to fight another day type of thing. So we can keep this storyline going.
But you see, one of JR's favorite phrases when it comes to Powerhouse Hobbs, he's from Oakland. I'm like, yeah, EPA, Oakland, whatever. You don't care if there's some crazy white guy with a bat. No.
Oh, yeah, that's no
Remember
problem.
The guy's story, his brother took a bullet for him.
No, he took a bullet for his brother. This is the dude who literally jumped in front of a gun. And now he's being told, don't go around that old man with a bat. Okay.
Crazy. He was the only one who wanted to do it. So it's like, come on. Yeah. Go there,
But then here's the deal. Sting walks out. It's snowing like crazy. I'm watching it snow, and I keep thinking, how is this winter gimmick gonna go once they tour again, where every indoor place snows? I don't think I'm into the snow thing. So winter's coming
when it's 100 degrees.
Yeah,
and it's like 99% humidity.
Well, it's because it's actually bubbles, so it'll work. But
is it bubbles?
That's how the fake snow works. It's bubbles. So. They put it out, and Sting comes out. He looks at little baby Darby because he's longing for his custody battle win. He wants the custody of Darby, which we'll get in a triple threat Sting versus Cody versus Mox in a ladder on a pole match for the custody of Darby Allin, who will be holding his own custody papers in a shark cage above the ring, hence the ladder. And then he winks at Cody like, we gonna fuck later, and then leaves. That was advertised.
You were combining so many gimmicks right there.
What do you mean? I don't follow.
A hodgepodge, if you will, of gimmicks.
Yeah.
That's the only way that plays out. I don't see it playing out any other way, Grim.
But
I don't know. I think
that was an advertised segment. You understand that? That's the weirdest bit. Sting will be here. Sting will appear. That's what they give you.
We know this. He signed a multi-year deal, so we know this. But
if that's what I'm getting every week, I'm not watching every week because.
Well, no.
I'll give you this.
Yeah.
Some of the most exciting times of Sting, and especially when the Crow gimmick first started, was him standing in the rafters and staring at Hogan. Because Hogan was running amok, and NWO was destroying WCW, and so here was Sting, letting them know he's watching them and he's going to destroy them, and there was a lot of tension there. There is no tension between Sting and Cody. There is no tension between Sting and Darby. I don't understand why they think that him coming out, winking at the camera and leaving, is anything like him standing in the rafters and staring down at Hogan, who was flipping out. These guys also aren't flinching at Sting. The FTW guys are. They're out. But Cody and Darby are just staring at him. Hogan would freak out. He was screaming and yelling and running around like crazy. Go ahead.
Darby's like, Daddy. Yeah, no. No. Yeah, no. It's the daddy thing, But honestly, I think what it is, it's the only thing that can come out of this is he keeps coming when Darby's around. Darby thinks he's getting a dad. Sting thinks he's getting a title. And, that's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Grim, what do you think?
Overall, again, just, I think the overall segment is just, again, buying into the ambiance of Sting, the credibility he has, the legend that is Sting, the icon. We're still we're still on the coattails, if you will, of that awesome coat that he's wearing. But just pretty much still building the legacy of Sting in AEW. What does that look like? Does he have a role? Maybe he gets a little more physical at the beginning of the new year in one of those either December 30th or January 6th shows. Maybe to battle New Year's Evil. Maybe they throw him into or maybe they not throw him into a match. Maybe like say he'll be the special enforcer at ringside, or he'll come down or something. They're gonna need to promote him, not just saying he's here, but just he'll be at ringside for Cody's match for the FTW championship or whatever. They have to put a little more oomph into it, just saying he's here. They have to give just like the next step up from just walking out and just being there.
Something's got to be different, because here's the deal. As much as I think ratings is a bullshit thing, but I do like overall ratings, because I like to know how many people are watching wrestling, because I love wrestling as it is. They lost almost 200,000 viewers between last week and this week. So Sting showing up and winking at the camera and leaving is not bringing in your lapsed fan. It's not a shift of power.
No.
And that's what they were promising with all that shit. So that's my concern, is that we've got Sting now in this weird holding pattern, and for what and for how and where the fuck is it going? And I don't think anybody else is interested. Everybody wanted to see him show up. What is he going to do? And when they go, oh, he didn't do anything? And then he goes, well, he's going to come back and he's going to talk. And then he comes out and says, Tony Schiavone, I love you. I wish we could be together forever. Give me a hug. I think a lot of that ambience gets shaken to the core, to be quite honest. And I think a lot of people didn't watch this week because they said, I've seen enough. It's nice to know he's back. You lost a huge chunk, and you should have been able to hold on to them. In the chat real quick, Kuro is saying, in a ladder, on a pole, in a shark cage with a strap, wearing a dog collar. I think we can make that happen. So my concern, Grim, is that he's losing his ambiance by doing the shit that he's doing the way he's doing it, because nobody knows how to direct him. And I think that so I disagree with so much of what Cornette says. I do listen to him because I find some of it interesting. And one of the things he said was, with as long as Sting's been around, no one, he goes, find me any interview with anyone who's ever said Sting has a great mind for the business. And he goes, that's not to say that the guy's not great, and he's not a great talent, and he's not an amazing draw, and he's not an icon or a legend. But he's not the kind of guy who's going to train someone. He's not the kind of guy who's going to be giving you a ton of great advice. No one ever said they wish they were trained by Sting, and no one ever said he should have been a producer. He goes, he is exactly who he is, and he can get himself over. But without any direction, where's that going to take you? And my fear is that he doesn't have enough direction there, that we're going to just get more and more of this, because I don't know that people understand the difference. I'm not saying I do.
It's like we went
smarter.
from that. That's an awesome take. Obviously, I listen to Cornette also. In terms of through all of the let's say all of the extra spice, if you will. Yeah. There is some. I really like. I love his historical take. He was on some other documentaries. Like, he has all of these, like his entire library. I think it was on Vice TV. He has going through his magazines, going through old programs from the 50s, 60s, 70s of the South, for the southern part of the country in wrestling. And he's a huge historian, big brain guy, right? So, he forgot more than I'll ever know, right? So just to hear his stories, and even though, a lot of his takes are candid and they're off the cuff, right? But just, there's a lot of knowledge there. So, and a lot of understanding. So for him to say that, I mean, that means something, that has some weight to it. But going into, for AEW, I agree with you, Marsh, where, you went from having the interview last week to now dead silent and just be the silent, strong type, like he was in the rafters and whatnot. So, okay, that's week 1, week 2, week 3, we got to go one direction or the other. You have to be the silent type, or you have to be the interview type. which the interview type I'm not really a fan of because, again, I grew up with Sting, the NWO Sting. So, again, just I'm more of the strong, silent type Sting kind of guy myself. So I would prefer more that way. The less he says, the better, and just kind of go from there.
But I also think that in this conversation, Eric Bischoff isn't given enough credit for creating Sting the way we know him. Eric Bischoff is an incredible storyteller and thinks of stories long term in 3 parts: Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, climax kind of a deal, and payoff or whatever. I think that Bischoff gave him the direction of just stand there and stare. Don't make a face. We'll take care of the rest. And I think that if you go back and watch any of that stuff, the NWO is making those segments. Sting looks more stoic and silent and brooding because of how the NWO is reacting. They're losing their minds in the ring. They're losing their shit. They can't handle it. They don't know what to do. And then they're like teasing, oh, come on down here. We'll do this and that. And then when he fucking does come down, they're skirting away and running and stuff. So I don't know that without both sides of it. And I don't know how much Sting ever bothered to ask Eric Bischoff about that stuff. How much of that was he just told to do? And he said, I can do it. And he did it and goes, yeah, I'm huge. People are buying all my shit. I'm doing a great job. But do you know all the other wheels that are turning to get you there? So I don't know. I just don't know. And I don't think that at this point Sting's done enough in AEW that makes me go, oh, this is going to be really good. Right now it's like, oh, is this going to be it? Is my concern.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm ready to talk about Eddie Kingston if you want.
Well, team, actually, before we head on to the next match here, I'm actually going to be logging off for the evening. So please take on the second half of AEW. Good second hour, good strong hour after the 12-man tag. So please take it away, and I'll see everybody real soon. You can catch me on Instagram. I updated the Instagram at ABOMB Express. That's ABOMB Express, PRESS on Instagram. So hope to hear from anybody soon. But again, I'll be guest starring in the future. Spoiler alert. So just please, talk to you guys next time around. If I'm not on before the holidays, please happy holidays to all of you. And thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to everybody later.
Grim, thanks for coming through. We really appreciate it. Sorry we ran long a little bit tonight, but there was a lot of kind of weird little side bits going on here. Yeah. So
we like it. We like diving into the rabbit holes here on, with Wrestling on the Rocks. So take care, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Amanda. You and me, we're going to finish this hour up. Eddie Kingston, is he a production nightmare or is that just me? Like, he yells at the cameraman to be here, be there, get out. And then you have Taz begging the cameraman to come in the ring. I'm like, those cameramen got to be so terrified. They don't know what to do.
Oh, my God. If anyone is to be more terrifying, I would believe it would be Eddie Kingston. But however, Eddie Kingston's he's a doll. So, yeah. When he's in that zone.
I just think from a producer standpoint, if I'm like, hey, stand on that mark, he's like, no, I'm going to be all over. I'm like, well, the focus is there. No, I'm going to move around. Yeah. You're like, well, damn it.
No, you need to follow me. You didn't. Yeah, no, he knows when what will make him shine even more. He knows. But no, that anytime you give damn Eddie Kingston a mic, it's money. Yeah. Just anytime. Like, let Eddie talk. I love it that he hates everybody.
Yeah.
That's Eddie's MO. I love it. It was actually, I thought with Eddie, it's like, because I've been worried about what do you do with Eddie now? I mean, like, what do you do? And I'm looking back on it like, damn it, the stupid Omega shit's stupid with Impact that they should have just went with Eddie and done it that way. But, it kind of is what it is. But honestly, I think that like with Eddie, it's very, very interesting. And I like where it's going. There's a lot of possibilities. So I really think that it's very interesting. And I'm really liking the dynamic with Pac and the Lucha Brothers. I'm really liking that. And Archer, it's kind of nice to see him without having Jake there with him, because he doesn't need Jake. I mean, I get why he's around, but Archer doesn't need that. Archer just needs to go in and just beat ass. That's all he really needs to do.
Yeah.
However,
And they
I would
haven't been
love to
using
see
Jake
full tag.
anyways. He's been coming out and not saying anything. So
Yeah, no, he's just been kind of there, kind of being weird. So it's kind of creepy. I don't know. But I mean, I think if anything, if Archer needs anybody and we're going into this tag team kind of like mode, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is available now that he's not signed with, he left MLW. So, and they were, Killer Elite Squad was a phenomenal tag team. I loved them. You know, I mean, yeah, they were, you know, they could be unstoppable, and yeah, there were people who could stop them. But as a tag, if that's what you want, you know, that's what the tag division needs. Is they need that kind of unstoppable.
who did you tag
force.
with?
Well, it'd be Archer and Davey Boy Smith. Yeah,
They were tagged together? Awesome.
yeah, New Japan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some really great matches. Yeah, they were part of. They were actually they were in Noah, and then no, they didn't bring Davey Boy Smith. Didn't go to New Japan when Archer was there, but Noah, they had a lot. Like I think they won their World Tag League. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I got you.
But also, they had a great match with Cabana when Cabana partnered with Hero in the World Tag League or Global Tag League for Noah, probably about like 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. That was a really great match because you look at like Cabana's and nothing like that, and with him to keep up with like Hero and and Archer and then Davey Boy Smith, it was like, whoa, that's a cool match. But yeah, no, I think that's what he needs, because honestly, like the singles thing right now, I mean, it's hard to say what the face of this is going to be, because it's like
it's crowded.
It's really destroying it. So I think that's why they're going more into tag, because it's like, well, like
but then the
there's a lot going on.
I mean, the next match that really happens, because we talked about the Inner Circle already, was SCU and the Acclaimed. I mean, that's another tag match. The whole company seems like it's tags.
Another huge push. I think that it's great to have, when you have like CD and Kaz to, SCU to bring, to go up against some of these younger guys and elevate them. I mean, it's a great thing. And that's what I liked about it. Didn't necessarily like the rap, I must say.
Yeah, I also felt like it was way too much rapping. Like, it was neat, it was all right. Like, they weren't doing a bad job or anything.
But there
was a lot of it. I felt like you could have broken this up into several weeks worth of content, and you just dumped it all on me at once, and it seemed like too much.
I think it was because we're on TV. Let's make it as grand as we can. Don't understand the Nickelback CD and having that. Didn't understand that one.
Yeah.
I was like, it's weird. But obviously some of the things he said were a little controversial. Don't know how much censorship is going, or editing, or even prep talk it is going into, some of these things, because, a lot of people, shouldn't have carte blanche with a mic. And just because you can rap on the fly doesn't mean you need a mic, because you gotta, I mean, and these are younger guys. So it's like, there's things you can say and not say. So again, that's why we don't have stroke routing. So, I mean, just things like that. So I think that
I loved when Ricky grabbed the mic though, and he goes, "You're talking about daddies," and I was like, "Is he?"
I was like, "Dad!" I like yelled at my computer, "Dad! Oh my God, do it!" But no. But then I'm like, no, he's not going to do that. But it was like, God, daddy issues. But anyways, no. Yeah. So what I do like is that already with the Bucks, and this is one thing where I think, in the spirit of what Cody did with the TNT, sorry, oh Jesus Christ, the TNT title, too much fuck. I think that they're doing that in that same spirit. But what's interesting is that all of these young people that they've brought and given shots to, like Private Party, I think Private Party is probably on the bottom of the echelon of all of the people, having Top Flight, all these guys and these younger teams there, and already putting them into a title picture, basically kind of forgetting about the stupid ranking system, I think is awesome. And I think that
they haven't really mentioned it lately.
No, they did, but not in the tag sense. The only time they had mentioned during that match that that the rankings came out, and how did they say this? They said, "Oh yeah, I think it was It was your favorite. It was your buddy Excalibur who had said, "Oh yeah, the rankings came out, and the Acclaimed are now number 5 on the on the rankings." And it's like these rankings are stupid. They don't mean anything. What means something is they issued a challenge for the Bucks, and the Bucks are like, "Hell yeah, we'll do it." And that's, I think, what that's all about. The ranking thing is stupid. Again, it's like ratings. No one cares.
I agree. They haven't done a good job of making it seem like it was meaningful. They've done everything they can to undermine it every time it doesn't fall into place with everything else.
Yeah. But I like having these young guys, go for it, because the Bucks gave Top Flight that shot on Dynamite, and and Private Party's done what Private Party does. I really think now with Private Party, if they do decide to go down, I heard grumblings of maybe going down a 6-man title. That I think the Hardy Party would probably be good for that. That's a good place for them. Just because they work well as a unit, and it helps them be stronger, because just the two of them by themselves, I'm not it's not as impressive as watching Top Flight or the Acclaimed, to be honest, at this point.
I agree with all that. For sure. And I liked the Acclaimed. I just thought that the rapping stuff felt like it was dragging. After a while, I was like, this is just a music segment now. It's not even just part of it.
Well, they had a lot of filler. They needed filler yesterday.
Apparently
they needed a lot of filler. And they had a lot of weird interviews, like...
Yeah, the best friends one I thought was weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that was a little strange. Although, going back to that tag match, because we did not talk about this, but we're talking about best friends, I think it was great that Orange Cassidy went on commentary, and he had a headset that was not plugged in, and he was holding the cords. So he saw it wasn't plugged in, and he fell asleep. That was the best.
Okay.
And then someone had made a comment, "Boy, Excalibur, you probably want Orange Cassidy to do like commentary with you all the time." And he's like, "Oh yeah." And then someone had piped in. I think it was Tony, and Shivani was like, "Oh yeah, you should have him do it on Dark." He goes, "Oh, that would be heaven." I had to laugh. I'm like, yeah, you get Taz in there, but it's like, dude, you're his commentary style, like what you've said before, and Taz, because Taz is a very smart man, and and he wants to educate people, and then just again, Excalibur is like, I want to make you feel kind of stupid, kind of douchey. So again,
and then FTR came out and they cut a mean promo, which I thought
was great. Tully, I mean, oh damn, that was great. But what I love also about with FTR is, I know everyone was like, okay, they vanished, they're gone. They did their thing, they came in, did what they had to do, but obviously, nope, they're around. So that's what I like about with them. So I'm wondering if in the future, because we saw a lot of it was all tag team action ish, involving with like promos and things like that. Are we going to see eventually with Impact? Is that how it's going to merge in? Because somehow I kind of see, now that we have this Omega, Good Brothers thing, going back to that, are we going to see the Good Brothers and the Bucks somehow?
I mean, that's what I thought the whole point of was with Impact. I really didn't think of any other option. When they first said they were partnering with Impact, I was like, oh, so the Good Brothers can face the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm. But you you can't use any Bullet Club thing, because that's owned by New Japan. And New Japan is, I mean, y'all abandoned us for this shit. Fucking
but they don't have to.
But they don't have to. But now that it's under new management, New Japan, I think as of Wrestle Kingdom, that they have a new president after Wrestle Kingdom, I think that it's a whole different ballgame. But
that could be.
Who knows? I mean, it's hard to say. But I think that is what we might be looking for. But the sad part is, I think, like with the North on Impact, I don't think they're a tag team any longer. I think they broke them up, which is sad, because I really was hoping to get to see the Bucks versus the North, and that was one I really
use the North now because they have Winters coming for Sting, and that would just be a conflict.
Like we know they're from up there, like, I mean, they could have
but that's all Game of Thrones stuff. The North is
part of Game of Thrones. I don't know. I don't watch it. I don't watch it.
So if they had the North and they didn't team with Sting, but Winter is coming, they'd be really fucking confused, because that's all Starks.
Okay. Or
not Ricky Starks, the Starks family from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. I'm like
yeah, you're like, whoa. Let's see.
What did he
There's
do?
only
What
two other
did he
matches
do?
that really took place here. Big Swole, Serena Deeb versus Diamante and Ivelisse. I
Yeah.
thought the match was decent.
It was okay, but I had an issue with it. My issue was is that you have four women who are all incredible wrestlers, and it didn't get the kudos it deserved because of the placement of where the match was.
Yeah.
Because you had this shit, you had this battle rap bullshit, and you had the Bucks get challenged, and then you have these gals, and it's like, man, these are four women who were great on their own individually, and you have them in a ring, and you have them at least for about 15 minutes, because looking at the time, because Janela and Omega was not going to go very long.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you have at least 15 minutes with them. So I think that the crowd, and this is a testament to having all those wrestlers down in the front, shame on all of them, because you know what? Men, women, whatever, they know how damn hard it is to get women's wrestling, people to be serious about women's wrestling. Yeah. If you want your company to be serious, they should have those wrestlers, because they're like, all jazzed about everything else, but they were like dead fish. And I'm like, you guys can't do that. Like like if you're going to be down there, then do that. Or if not, get people, some of these fans who come in all the time that, that will sign some kind of release, and you do the temperature check, you do the whole thing, cover your ass, test them, and then they can be in that front too, because you're going to get more of a genuine reaction than you are to see like Billy Gunn and his two kids.
But maybe the genuine reaction you don't really want either, because of the placement of this whole thing. I think that
everyone looked bored.
The big thing on this one that I thought was dope was, here's the deal with like Jim Ross is he doesn't speak unless he's trying to put something over, and or if he can't take it anymore and he has to say some shit. That's kind of how he talks. But when Serena Deeb comes out, he starts talking about, here we're going to see a great matchup with very talented wrestlers who are going to show you what wrestling is supposed to look like. And he starts to put her over so much that you start realizing this is the thing he's looked forward to all night, and literally nothing else.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those, like, I hear what you're saying by what you don't say on other segments. And it's not a knock on him at all. But it is kind of telling when he's like, this is tremendous, Yeah,
that's where this whole match kind of killed me, because he was so excited about this is Serena Deeb. This, all these women, every one of them spoke very highly about, and it's like, this is the reaction they're getting. I'm like, or, because like Shivani, it was like pretty much could fucking care fucking less. I mean, that's my take on Shivani on commentary, is he can really care less unless it's something like it's Sting or whatever, and then Excalibur has to do what Excalibur does.
Oh, and but Shivani sounds so forced when he's screaming it's Sting now.
I know. I'm like, dude, take some lessons. But but JR,
he's trying so hard.
Yeah, no, but with JR, it was so heartfelt and honest. And just something that it's like, damn, dude, you just like disappointed JR pretty much, because this reaction was like, that's not the reaction it should have. Yes, it probably could have been placed better. Probably wouldn't have put it after that. But again, I know what they're trying to do. And, and it's not working. They're not at that strength yet. And then to have, like Nyla Rose come out, and Vicky, which I love Vicky, but Vicky, girl, damn, go back to I don't know what it was when you were on SmackDown and shit, and you get in the ring with some of these bitches, you were pretty fucking fierce. This was horrible. It was horrible, to say a nice thing. But I mean, like we didn't need that, we didn't. I was waiting for Brandy to come back out and say, girl, you take care of business, because mama can't do nothing, because mama be a mama. But I was waiting for that, but that didn't happen. But again, I think that JR, man, I mean, I was just like, damn, you guys just really disappointed JR. Like I was like, oh, I felt bad for JR, actually. I'm like, oh, dude.
You've been looking forward to it all night, and you could tell.
Yeah. And it's sad, like, because it seems like sometimes, like, a lot of what he's watching, just doesn't like. He just can't stand. He has to bear with it because he's there, but
Yeah, he's not feeling it the same way.
He's not feeling it.
Let's talk about, though, Janela and Kenny Omega. This sounds like a match that you would have booked yourself.
No.
I know you're a big fan of Janela. I know you're
I
hot and
love
cold with
Janela.
Omega. But we
not
both know that Omega can get the job done. He can definitely do it. So
And
when I
Joey
saw
can
this,
sell.
I thought, all right, Amanda's going to be happy this is even happening. Let's see how she thinks how it played out.
Well, it's your typical, Joey Janela. I can sell, and I'm gonna sell it for you. Which, I know that there's, it had to be done, and was it good? It was okay for what it was. It was great to see Don Callis kind of freak out a little bit because
Don Callis was annoying the shit out of me, but I think that was good.
Don Callis is always really annoying, but to see your fucking boy on a table and Janela's gonna be freaking,
dude, that table broke so good.
Oh yeah,
the way it broke in those weird segments, I loved it.
You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's because when you work with people like a Janela, who that's their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Okay. That shit, like going back to those chairs that people got CTE from because it wasn't done properly or the ladder wasn't sanded or any of those things that blew me away before.
Yeah.
If there's anything I know about doors and tables, because I saw the inner workings of it being front row one time at JCW, that table, whoever made that table, man, that was designed to implode the way it did because it was like art. It was beautiful. I mean, it was so good. I was like, oh my God. I mean, that was the highlight of it. And it was funny because when Janela was looking for stuff under the ring, it was great to see all the little things that they had put underneath there. All the different barbed wire, like accoutrements, there was a bat with barbed wire, but I think we saw too many bats, so that wasn't going to come out. There's some other thing with barbed wire. There's some, it was great. There was like a plethora of really cool things, but that table, whoever built that was just amazing. It was just because of the noise, the sound, and the actual way it imploded. I mean, I think that was amazing. It was the like, chunks, whoa! I mean,
the weird segments. I was way into it.
The way it kind of, can't really do that, but that's my impression of that noise. It was just great. It was like, oh yeah. I mean, that makes for some good TV, and just because Janela can sell that shit, man. No one can sell sell some of these brutal spots more so than Janela. Even like that, the V triggers. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah.
I thought like, oh yeah. Like I'm like, Jesus Christ. If there's anybody in the world who could really sell a V trigger, that was probably one of the best sells I could ever see because it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Because we knew Janela wasn't gonna win. Come on now.
Oh yeah. For sure.
The world would come to an end if Joey Janela was the champion of fucking AEW. That's not his kind of role. That's not his role. Now I love having him and Sonny kiss. I love Sonny coming out and supporting him in every match he does, and vice versa. I think that's fucking great. I think it's great. I mean, I wish more people, when you are partnered with someone, and of course this was something that was new when they got thrown together. That's another great tag team too, that they've got this really great, chemistry going that, you wouldn't have known. But I think that's another, again, it's another testament of that's the way it's going to go because you have this whole complete roster. And you're still trying to bring in new people, that this is probably like one of the best ways to really get everything together. The only thing I think that AEW at this point, if they could add anything, that would be, besides Marty, that would be, I think, phenomenal, and would be, at this point, would be Chris Hero.
Oh, he'd be dope. He would be dope.
What capacity? I'd like to see him with fucking running with Eddie. Because I know you're not going to get Homicide. There's no way. But him running with
because that could show crazy kind of legitimacy to him too, especially with all the indie stuff. I liked the match in and of itself in general. As far as Don Callis, I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is. But I was also okay with him.
He's like Brandon Cutler.
Yeah, my favorite part, though, to be honest, was just the opening of the match where Kenny's coming out and Janela just throws a trash can in his face.
Yeah.
I just thought that landed so good. I was like, oh, okay.
Janela's like the master of that. Like I don't know what it is. And I've seen death. I'm not a death match person. So this is like the one I'm like, oh yeah. But when you see people throwing things like that or whatever, there's an actual art to it. Now, that sounds really bizarre, but Janela's got that shit down. Like,
yeah, because this stuff doesn't move the way you think it's going to move all the time, unless you do it all the time.
Yeah, or there's, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a slight dent in it, in that trash can, and I think because the dent was supposed to be there for a reason, because how, I guess, it flies or whatever. So I think that it always intrigues me now to see some of those little things. But I think that
for sure,
like, because there's one time I've seen Janela, it was him and Darby Allin at PWG. They were using cement blocks, and I'm like, how the fuck do you like work a cement block? Because like they almost dropped one on my foot, so that's why I know that was real. Okay, but it was just amazing to me that, like, some of this shit, like, it's like pretty badass. And for Kenny to take garbage can like that, I was like, whoa, yeah, it's going to be something good. But the table, I think, was it
supposed to be an ODQ match? Because it definitely had to be, right?
When you're dealing with Janela,
oh yeah, no DQ. There it goes. World title eliminator, no disqualifications, anything goes. But yeah, overall pretty decent in that regard. What did you think of the aftermath and Pac doing a promo for Rey Fenix to get him a shot at the title? It really felt like filler to me, and it felt like a way to get excitement for a match that we know exactly how it's going to go. It was like a purpose. It was like a no purpose kind of filler segment. And I felt like Pac did a lot of work to get us not very far, and Omega did a whole lot to try and make it seem like it was more intense than it was. It was just kind of like not clicking in that same way. What did you think?
Yeah. Well, sometimes with Pac, I think it's better don't talk.
When he's the talker, something's an issue.
Well, it's just like sometimes I'm like, dude, I don't know. You're not convincing to me as a guy on the mic.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then again, also you have kind of that language barrier-ish with the Lucha Brothers, so you really can't, because they were using Eddie.
That's what I mean. Like, so he's the one there.
So, yeah. And
Are you excited about the idea of Rey Fenix and Omega?
I am, because, that's what it should have been. But then I'm not, because, it's just like, we already know how this is going to go anyway.
Yeah. I don't think I was terribly impressed by Penta and Omega.
No.
So I don't know why why I'm thinking Phoenix is going to be better. Like I like the idea they're getting to it, but at the same time, I feel like this place doesn't have a lot of build. They keep going like, well, we told you we're going to do this thing, so now we're going to do it. There's not a lot of anticipation built.
Well, Phoenix is a better singles wrestler than Penta.
Okay.
I think. People can trash me all you want, but it's true. I mean, Penta works better. Or at least the style of Rey Fenix and Kenny Omega meshes better than Penta. Because to be honest, that was probably my least favorite match at All In. I didn't care for it. I did not care for it. And
give you that.
You can people can trash me all you want with it, but I was in the front row, and they had two of my. If you ever watch the Kenny Omega documentary, you see my ass twice, like cheering. That wasn't during Kenny's match. Sorry, that was during Marty's match.
That's funny.
I bring the fire. But I will say that Penta, I don't think Penta's a very good singles competitor, because I've seen him in some matches with people where it's like, oh God, no. Like, and and it doesn't hold up as well. But he's better in that tag scenario. Because I think he's a better showman, or someone who has a very similar style to him. So someone like, I guess.
Okay, so let's get back to Rey.
Yeah, Rey. I kind of, now it's like but before, if it was done when it was supposed to have been done, that would have been better, because you're not knowing what to expect. Obviously, in the back of your mind, Kenny's gonna win, but at least there's that element. There could be an element of surprise.
This feels like they're throwing it together because they don't know what to do. Because the match, I feel like, would have been good in and of itself when it first was supposed to happen. But now it's like we don't know how to hold off getting to Kenny and Paige. So what avenues? What's every single avenue we have at anybody who could possibly have a gripe with Kenny, and just throw that out there? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
because
like eventually
there.
Yeah, because eventually, watch, we're gonna see something stupid like, I don't know, Sammy Guevara and Kenny. We're gonna see something stupid like Kenny,
Yeah, someone's going to have not been eliminated from something on some technicality, and it's going to be on Omega now. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, like, or we need to see things like, I don't know, a great Kenny match right now that I think would have a really big question mark unknown kind of thing. I think would be someone like, dare I say, like a Ricky Starks, or at this point even Pac is kind of boring with Kenny at this point. I don't.
Yeah, I think even an Eddie Kingston, something where that there's enough fandom behind him that you think that it could go somewhere. My problem with the Ricky thing is that although you and I think that he's championship material, I don't believe that the company's bought in entirely yet, and I think that that's a shame, and they should have. But I will say, I do think we're wrapping up. I do think that it is about last call. We are hitting those hours. We really left no stone unturned and no drink undrunk.
No.
I feel like on this one.
A lot of vodka in there.
Yeah.
Vodka in bags. Yeah. So I'm guessing that I know next week for AEW it's taped. Is NXT the same way? I
think that it is. I think NXT's. I don't know that NXT's doing anything different. I don't know when they tape or when they go live, but I know that NXT or AEW is going to be on after NBA, so it's taped, and I know that SmackDown's like on FS1 this week, so there's a lot of things shaking up. I watch things as though it's live anyways, though. I don't really care about that stuff.
Yeah, I know they tape Dynamite today, and Dark. They did. I think they did Dark. They did. I think 2 things of Dark today, maybe.
All right, so then you'll have to tell me offline about how Ricky does. I'm gonna want to know. Just kidding.
I don't even know. I'm not even told.
I do think, for one, it's a shame that he wasn't able to bid off that body bag, and I think that went in a shitty way. Yeah, and I feel bad for Ricky on that one. He deserves better.
I was told, why didn't you tell me you would just give me money to donate it, and I would have swung your way? I'm like, because I don't know.
No.
My
we would have pitched in. We could have pitched in and done a thing.
We could have done that, gotten a thing, Like, come on, I don't like. But I mean, it hurts my heart. You're doing something good for for charity, and then not.
Yeah.
And you probably gave it to someone who really wouldn't appreciate it.
Yeah, probably some random schmo who's going to try and sell it now themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I think that that's it for the week. I think that's our chaser, guys. Thank you for coming through and having a drink with us. Thank you guys for being our drinking buddies, our wrestling buddies. Amanda, tell people where they can find you.
You guys can find me at Ms. Amanda Jane at Twitter and also on Instagram.
She is ready to fight, so tweet right at her. I am at Ref Marsh. We are WOTR, the show, Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show because we can't quite figure it out and we just don't get it right. We started at the bottom, and now we here at the bottom. That is our pledge and our oath to you. Thank you guys for buying us a drink and hanging out and having a laugh. Guys, we'll see you on Tuesday when we get to break down Raw, SmackDown, and TLC and see how that whole thing plays out. Thank you so much for hanging, guys. It's been a pleasure seeing you. We'll see you next time. Cheers.